former commentary from Sporting against Arsenal in the Champions League, live on Talksport with former England striker Darren Bent, alongside your commentator Ian Danter.
Thank you, Adrian, and a very good evening to you, wherever and however you're listening to Talksport. The setting tonight is the Estadio Jose Alvalade, as Arsenal, now in 14th place in the Champions League table after the early kickoffs today, look to get back into the top 8 of this tournament, but they need to be so much better on their travels, whether that's at home or abroad. The Gunners have failed to score at Newcastle, Bournemouth and Inter in recent weeks, and their host tonight, Sporting, are the team that knocked Arsenal out of Europe in the Europa League recently in the round of 16 on penalties after a 1-1 draw. The Portuguese champions hold the only remaining 100% league record in Europe's top 6 leagues, and the post-Ruben Amorim era has begun in Lisbon, with his old side second in the Champions League standings, could go top tonight above Liverpool with a win. They've got 3 wins and a draw so far. João Pereira is the new manager, having been promoted from the B team, and his first game in charge was a 6-0 win in the domestic cup against third-tier opposition at the weekend. Mikel Arteta is now 250 games in as Arsenal boss, and he saw a bit of a wobble in form, ended in emphatic fashion on Saturday with a 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest, and that was with several first-teamers rested to the bench. They're all back tonight. 4 changes for Arteta. Martinelli, Havertz, Partey and Rice all recalled. So David Raya in goal, Jurrien Timber, William Saliba, Gabriel and Ricardo Calafiori in a back 4. Martin Odegaard skippers the side. He's in midfield along with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice. Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Martinelli are your front 3. And on the bench for Arsenal tonight, Neto and Setford, the 2 sub-keepers. Tierney, Jesus, Kivior, Zinchenko, Trossard, Jorginho, Marino, Sterling, Lewis Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri, who scored his first Premier League goal in that win over Forest on Saturday. Still a 3-4-3 for Sporting, even though Amorim has left for Manchester United. Franco Israel is their goalkeeper, a back 3 of Jerry Saint-Just, Gonzalo Inacio and Usman Diomande, who passed a fitness test to be fit for this tonight. Another bright starlet from the Sporting Academy, Giovanni Quenda, is on the right-hand side of the 4 in midfield. Skipper Morten Hjulmand, Hidemasi Morita, the Japanese, who makes his 100th Sporting appearance tonight, and Maximiliano Araujo make up the rest of the midfield. Victor Gyökeres spears the front 3, the former commentary man in such red-hot Darren Bent-like form in front of goal. Trincao, once of Wolves, and Marcus Edwards, once of the Tottenham Academy, are either side of him. 2 keepers on the bench as well for Sporting, Kovacevic and Kalai. Mateus, Harder, Catamo, Fresneda, Braganza, Esgaio, Brito, Simoes, Montero and Couto are the reserves for the hosts. Darren Bent alongside me, and you fully support Mikel Arteta's decision basically to recall all the big guns for the Gunners tonight.
Absolutely. Good evening. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Obviously, you said they're Sporting 3-4-3 system which they know so well under Ruben Amorim, shall I say, and Arsenal in this 4-3-3. Yeah, Calafiori had to come back in, Timber, Odegaard, Saka, all the big guns are back tonight.
Underway on Talksport in the Champions League. Arsenal in the regulation red and white shirts, white shorts, red socks. Sporting in that green strip with the white and black horizontal stripes on their shirts, and an early chance for Arsenal to lob the ball into the box, and Quenda under pressure as Odegaard lobbed the ball across the face of goal. Sporting managed to get it clear. Calafiori will tidy up and ride the challenge of Trincao, but Trincao's won it back and immediately sets the ball into the Arsenal half for the big man Victor Gyökeres. All eyes on him tonight. Apparently he's on Arsenal's radar as a potential captain if indeed Ruben Amorim is true to his word, Darren, and he doesn't try and sign anybody from Sporting for Manchester United. Sporting giving the ball away. Martinelli, left-hand corner of the penalty area, drives to the byline, pulls it across the face of goal. Diomande with an awkward clearance. Calafiori goes for a goal with his weaker right foot, and that's nearer the corner flag than the far post. Goal kick, 0-0 with a minute gone on Talksport.
Yeah, fantastic opportunity there for Arsenal. I mean, it was great play. That long throw that they do so well, where Martin Odegaard wrongs on the byline, and then they just pop it over the top. But Martinelli, he's on his heels there. I think if he goes a second early, he probably has a tap in there. But it's been a really good, although it's only a minute and 10 seconds gone, it's been a really fast start for Arsenal.
Gyökeres holds the ball up on halfway. It's a lovely little dummy from Chinchao to allow him to receive that pass on the halfway line. Sporting looking for Gyökeres. In fact, Quenda might reach it on the far right-hand side, but even he isn't quick enough to get it there. Another goal at Carrow Road in the Championship, Mike Sewell.
And another goal for Borja Sainz. His 13th of the season means that it's Norwich 2, Plymouth 0. Frankly, Norwich should be 4 or 5-0 up. They've hit the post. They've had a point-blank header saved. It's only Norwich 2, Plymouth 0.
Great season for Borja Sainz of Norwich. Incidentally, he was a Tomoki Iwata who got that Birmingham goal at Exeter. Wigan lead Northampton. Thelo Asgard, another goal for him for Wigan as they lead against the Cobblers. In the National League, Maidstone 1, Eastbourne 0, and Sutton 1, Solihull 0 at Gander Green Lane. And Chester lead Oxford City further down the pyramid by 1-0. Ball headed down by the Japanese Morita, but it goes out of play for an Arsenal throw, and Mikel Arteta, as usual, stationed at the edge of his technical area, arms folded, and he doesn't stay still for long.
No, he doesn't. He sits down for a couple of seconds, then he jumps back up. I'm really looking forward to watching Victor Gyökeres. I saw a lot of him at Coventry, big fan of his, and I thought maybe 1 or 2 Premier League teams might have tried to get him, but they didn't. But what a superstar he's turned himself into. I mean, 24 goals in 19 appearances in all competition. That's frightening for him.
It is quite brilliant what Gyökeres is doing, and you're right, Perry Gross was saying it. There's a yellow card been administered to Diamandi for too much backchat to the referee, because you heard the whistles around us. That was because Arsenal were taking their time to get the ball back into play, and at the moment Diamandi's just been reminded of his responsibilities. He could have got another yellow card there for going over to the assistant referee after the referee, Mr. Marciniak of Poland, gave him the initial yellow card. Usman Diamande nearly sent off then.
Do you know what? He's lucky that Hjulmand went over there, the captain, and told him to calm down, because you're right, that in that close kind of proximity, he couldn't have got himself sent off.
Sporting 0, Arsenal 0. And Morita goes in hard on Bukayo Saka down the Arsenal right. It's out for an Arsenal throw, taken by Timber. Odegaard tight to this near touchline, works it back to Thomas Partey, who scored that beauty against Forest on Saturday. Works it back to Saliba. Now Odegaard, the captain again. Mikel Arteta saying it's just different when Odegaard plays. Arsenal are just a different team when the Dane is around.
Just free flowing. And you know what it is? He picked up such little intelligent positions, little pockets, and he's one of those midfield players that he's not scared to take the ball when someone's tight behind him, tightly marked. He'll just pop it off one touch, or he'll have a little turn. But again, one of his biggest strengths is that every single time he gets the ball, he always looks forward. Never sideways and backwards, always looks forward.
Sporting 0, Arsenal 0. Bukayo Saka on 4 minutes works the ball in field from the right-hand touchline to Partey. Odegaard, quick feet from him. Saka tried to turn outside the area, felt he was fouled. Referee said nothing doing. Diamandi lobs it clear up to halfway, but straight to Saliba. Morita heads it up in the air, and it'll drop for Odegaard on the right wing, the near side for Arsenal once again. Lovely little ball with the outside of the boot to find Saka, who again was being, it seemed, manhandled by 2 Sporting defenders, one of whom is the tightrope walking Diamande. But again, the referee allowed play to continue.
I quite like the refereeing so far in this game. He's not stopping it and starting it and blowing his whistles, almost letting them get on with it. And that one there, I thought maybe could have been a foul. But I mean, Saka's as strong as they come, and for him to go down like that.
Wigan 2, Northampton 0 in League One. Johnny Smith doubles the Latics lead at the DW. 5 minutes got on Talksport in Lisbon. Sporting 0, Arsenal 0. But here's Saka again, looking to take on Araujo. Down the Arsenal right, works it in field to Odegaard, gives it back to Saka inside the area, tried to step inside Inacio, the defender, but the defender got a vital touch on the ball. Morita tries to bring it clear and runs straight out of play. Arsenal throw 0-0.
That was a chance that for Saka. I mean, they work it so well. Odegaard, again, we spoke about it. When he gets the ball, always wants to look forward, and he just reverses a little pass in between the fullback and the centre-back, and I thought Saka should have hit it with his right foot, but he opted to try and cut back inside again and maybe took one touch too many.
Morita again will clear, but has too much distance on the clearance, the Japanese midfielder. Arsenal have another throw, trying to keep Sporting hemmed in here, as they have pretty much in all the 6 minutes we've had so far on Talksport.
Well, it's not really helping, because Morita, every single time he's got the ball in the last 2 minutes, he's put out for a throw-on.
You're a good rugby player. Here's Odegaard, working it back to Partey, 25 yards from goal, out towards the right-hand touchline. A lovely ball in field from Odegaard for Rice. He finds Timber right-hand side, rolls it across the area, and it's tucked away by Gabriel Martinelli, and Arsenal have a deserved lead in Lisbon. Super work down the right-hand side from Odegaard, and then Jurrien Timber, and a cool ball rolled across the face of goal, just aching to be tapped home, and Gabriel Martinelli duly obliged. 6 minutes gone, Sporting 0, Arsenal 1.
What a goal that is. And Martinelli, that's what you wanted to see him do in the first minute, was don't just hang around on the penalty spot, get right in there in the 6-yard box. He does that, and by the way, what a cross from Timber, because what he does, he doesn't try and smash it, he almost just leaves it in there, rolls it along the 6-yard box. I mean, the goalkeeper probably should do slightly better. He can't get there, but Martinelli comes in off that left-hand side, right into the middle of the 6-yard box, and just rolls it into an empty net. Fantastic goal from Arsenal's perspective.
I mean, Kai Havertz was in there as well, and he was probably in the goalkeeper's eye line, and Israel, the goalkeeper for Sporting, had eyes for him, but Martinelli tucks it away for his first Champions League goal of the season, and Arsenal have the advantage, and rightly so, based on the balance of play in these opening 7.5 minutes on Talksport.
Joe, there's two things with that goal, Dan. First of all, Odegaard, the influence he has on this Arsenal team, in and around the box, the ball to his feet. Secondly, that goal's done Diamandi a favour, because I'm telling you now, he drags down Kai Havertz. So if Martinelli doesn't score, the referee probably goes to the monitor, not only to give a penalty, he probably sends Diamandi off.
We mentioned earlier that Diamandi got a yellow card for backchat once, and nearly got a second yellow card for doing the same thing, switching his attentions from the referee to his assistant. But an early lead for the Gunners against the team that knocked them out of the Europa League. Remember, Sporting are on a 33-game unbeaten run. 33 games in all competitions. 11 straight league wins, that's equalled the Portuguese league record. They only dropped points in the Champions League when they drew one each with PSV.
Do you know, they have been spectacular, and when people look at that Manchester City result, anyone who watched that game, Dan, Manchester City took the lead and should have probably been 4-5 up by half-time. Don't take their chances, you can get punished. And that's why I think coming into this game I was a little bit like, yeah, I know they've been very, very good this season, but they're not unbeatable. They can be got at.
Ball's on that right-hand side with Sporting, just over the halfway line. 9 minutes gone, if you're just tuning into Talksport. Sporting 0, Arsenal 1. Gabriel Martinelli slotting the ball home, right in front of goal. Here is Maximiliano Araujo. Marcus Edwards, I think that's the first touch that the young Englishman's had tonight in the Sporting shirt. Works it back to Diamandi. Little ball through to Morita. Good quick football from Sporting. Worked out to Araujo, left-hand side. First time cross, just diverted away from Trincao, who was coming in. I think it was Saliba that got the vital touch, or maybe Gabriel. But it was so close for Trincao, almost copying what Martinelli had done at the other end. 1-0 Arsenal. Yeah, it was a carbon copy, and they work it really well. Victor Gyökeres holding the ball up and playing it out wide, and it was a lovely cross across the 6-yard box, but Gabriel, I think, just does enough. It comes off his toe, and it just takes him away from the on-rushing Sporting attack. Arsenal give it away. Trincao, little quick feet at the right-hand corner of the area. Got support from Quenda with him if he wants to use him. Rolls his foot on the ball. Now Quenda has it, will work it infield to the centre of the half, and Diamandi. Bayer Leverkusen already 2-0 up on Salzburg in the Champions League. Edwards finds Morita. Now Hjulman, the captain. Touched out by Trincao to Quenda. Right-hand side of the area. Arsenal with some defending to do. But Martinelli gets the block in on the attempted cross. But it is a Sporting throw. 10 gone, Arsenal 1-0 up. Yeah, they worked it really well. Again, they're Sporting on that right-hand side. Quenda trying to get the ball in. But what Arsenal did really well defensively is that 3 or 4 of them submerged on Victor Gyökeres. Didn't give him any space. Havertz tried to nick the ball past Diamandi on halfway. But Diamandi got a foot in, and another goal at Bramall Lane in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
Yeah, Sheffield United 2, Oxford United 0. Tyrese Campbell, who's on fire at the moment, has got this second. Great defence splitting pass from Gus Harmer. Freed him, he rounded the keeper, slotted home. This looks foregone conclusion already. Sheffield United 2, Oxford 0.
Yeah, Callum O'Hare got the first goal for the Blades. I think that's his first goal for his new club since his move from Coventry. Leyton Orient 0, Huddersfield 1 in League One. Michael Hellick for the Terriers. Arsenal a goal up, and they're coming forward down the right-hand side with Saka trying to slide it into the box for the run of Declan Rice in the inside right channel. Just slightly overhit the pass from Saka, and it dribbles behind for a Sporting goal kick. 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Do you know, it was the right idea from Declan Rice. I like the little give and go with Saka, but I think in that scenario, I think when Declan Rice gives the ball to Saka there, I don't think Declan needs to go. I think if he holds his position, then you've got Saka. He's 1v1 with Arejo, and we've already seen at the start of this game, Saka's got a beating in the fullback. He could have got him, he could have got a shot off, he could have got to the byline across it in. So although I like the run from Declan Rice, I think in that scenario there where you've got Saka 1v1, just leave him, let him go and attack the fullback.
2 quick goals in Switzerland. Atalanta took the lead at Young Boys through Matteo Retegui, but Silver Ganvula has equalised. 1-1 between Young Boys and Atalanta. Young Boys 34th in the 30-16 table, lost all 4 of their games. Atalanta 6 straight wins, and Blackpool lead at Bristol Rovers. An own goal from Brian Bilongo puts the Seasiders ahead at the Mem. Here is Marcus Edwards, just clipped by Bukayo Saka, and Sporting have a free kick about 30 yards out, just to the left of centre, with 12.5 minutes gone on Talksport. Arsenal lead by a goal to 0 if you're just tuning in.
I thought Saka won the ball there. I thought it was a good tackle from Saka, quite clearly with the replay. He won the ball. It was good position for Marcus Edwards, though, just outside the box on the half turn. Didn't think it was a foul, though.
Araujo will take this free kick left-footed and swing it into the Arsenal penalty area. Arsenal holding a very high line. In it comes, headed out by Saliba. Martinelli giving chase over on the far side of the field, and he was just caught by Jerry St-Just. And that'll be another free kick to Arsenal, and they can clear their lines.
Yeah, Martinelli doing really well there, getting his body in, working hard for the team. And I don't think that's one thing. You could talk about Martinelli's form and the lack of goals, maybe the productivity from him. But when you look at his work rate, up and down, he always gives it 100%. And that's probably why, again, Mikel Arteta more often than not opts to play him, because you know what it gives you.
It's easy to figure he's edging towards 200 appearances for Arsenal, Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah.
It's more of a mainstay than many people give him credit for. 13.5 gone. Goal kick, or free kick rather, for David Raya. Smack downfield. It'll drop for Odegaard, 30 yards out. Little touchdown, gets it back to him via Saka. Now he's worked it out to the right-hand side. And Timber, level with the edge of the penalty area. Work back to the Arsenal captain Odegaard. Little chip looking for Martinelli at the far post, and it was just hit a little too straight and acknowledged by Odegaard, but it wasn't quite right. Goal kick to Sporting, 1-0 Arsenal.
I mean, the only surprise there he doesn't execute it, because he's going across the box from right to left, and he just tries to leave it in there, and it's a great run from Martinelli. But Odegaard, with that magic left foot, just gets a little bit too much on it, because if he does do it properly and he executes it, Arsenal are in again.
Don't forget, Sunderland West Brom is live over on Talksport 2 right now in the EFL. Currently goalless there. Marcus Edwards for Sporting runs into Partey, but his clearance rebounds out to the left-hand side for Sporting, and Araujo just tucks it infield, and it's picked up by Inacio, one of the 3 centre-halves. Schulman, the captain, says just out to Giovanni Quenda on the right-hand side, of whom much is expected in the years to come for Sporting.
I mean, when you look at Arsenal shakedowns, they are so compact and so narrow and so tight. They're almost inviting Sporting. Go wide and cross the ball in, because we've got Gabriel, we've got Saliba, Thomas Partey drops in, you've got Calafiori, 4 big guys there.
They are not outside the width of the 18-yard box.
They're almost saying to them, go and cross it. We believe we can deal with any cross you put into the box, and that's what it looks like by their shape.
Quenda on that right-hand side for Sporting. Whips a left-footed ball in, decent delivery, but well defended by Timber. Had 2 Sporting players, one either side of him, and he headed it behind for Sporting's first corner of the game on the quarter hour mark. Arsenal 1-0 up. And
that's a prime example of it, and Timber doing really well on that back post, just getting his head to it. But they're so compact and so narrow and so deep, they're not allowing the space in behind for Victor Gyökeres to run into, but also they're just saying to Sporting, we want you to cross it, because we don't believe you can hurt us from across.
So Araujo again with the delivery, this time from a corner rather than a free kick. Left-hand side for Sporting. In it comes to the near post, and it's cleared away by Calafiori. And it's another corner. He thinks it's a goal kick. He thought Inacio got the last touch. Not so, says Mr. Marciniak, the referee, and Araujo spots the ball down quickly at that left-hand side. Another left-footed outswinger to come from the Sporting number 20. Can he get beyond the near post this time? No, it actually cleared away at the near post, and Saka just lobs it over one player, keeps possession. Oh, and a lovely back heel to try and get Odegaard away, but that's good defending by Morita, just keeping himself goal side of Martin Odegaard and working the ball back to his keeper Franco Israel. 16 gone on Talksport. Sporting 0, Arsenal 1.
Yeah, good play there for Morita, because Odegaard's away and he runs with him, he matches him stride for stride. But I thought the first initial part was a foul on Saka, because he does really well. He doesn't just smash up the pitch, he takes it on his chest, he flicks over the defender. I think he was getting pulled back there, but
again, that's indicative of what you said earlier about Mr. Marciniak wants to let this game flow, the referee, as much as possible, Darren Bent.
Exactly, and I quite like it. Although it was a foul, probably Arsenal in that situation don't like it. I like the fact that it's not your normal European Champions League game where every tackle's a foul. It's stop-start, it's a little bit bitty. He's tried to let it through, and it's been a good game at the result of that.
Yeah, he's a vastly experienced official, Szymon Marciniak. Always takes part at all the major tournaments, World Cups and Euros. Arsenal have possession on halfway. Havertz works it out to the right wing, and Bukayo Saka tucks it in field for his captain Odegaard, but he works it back for Timber, and it goes back further to the two centre-halves, Saliba and now Gabriel. Up to the halfway line for Arsenal. Passes out to the far left-hand side of the goal scorer, Gabriel Martinelli. Tucks it in field for Declan Rice, but first touch was heavy. Allowed Sporting to win it back. Gyökeres on halfway. Turns away from Gabriel. Neat ball in field from Quenda to find Trincao. Once of Wolves. And now it's with Morita, and he floats a lovely ball out to Araujo, but he had to head the ball in field to keep it in play as he was backpedaling, and that gave Arsenal the chance to win it back. Bukayo Saka on the near touchline, darts over the halfway line, but runs into Inacio, who concedes a throw for Arsenal.
Great play there from Bukayo Saka. Defence to attack, just bringing the ball up, and he wins the throw-in. I mean, it should have been a Sporting throw-on. It quite clearly comes off Saka's shin, but you get it in these type of circumstances. But Arsenal, I think, defended really well. Every single time Sporting Lisbon midfield player gets the head up and they look, Gyökeres makes the run, Gabriel and Saliba, just both of them go with him, both of them drop out, and there's literally no space for them.
Now there's space for Calafiori coming forward. Left-hand side, works it out to the left-hand corner of the box for Arsenal. Martinelli tries to get the cross in, blocked behind for a corner by Quenda this time, and Arsenal have their first corner kick of the game, 1-0 up.
Well, this is certainly an avenue that Arsenal can exploit when it comes to Sporting Lisbon, because if you look at the size and the height, Arsenal are much bigger than Sporting Lisbon. I mean, there's probably about 3 or 4 for Arsenal that are about 6'3" plus, and we know how dangerous Arsenal are from set plays as well. The delivery's usually always right with Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, and they've always usually got something up their sleeve, so this might be an avenue in a way to hurt Sporting.
The whistles go up around the stadium as Declan Rice ambles over to that corner to spot the ball down. The locals are not happy with the time that Arsenal are taking with their set pieces. Eventually it'll be a right-footed in-swinger from Declan Rice. A whole clutch of Arsenal players way beyond the far post. Now they make a run across the goal line, as in it comes from Rice, headed out by Inacio. Odegaard might be able to head it back out to Rice on that left-hand side, but Quenda retrieves it, and then he gives it away. Martinelli inside the area, left-hand side, pulls it across looking for Havertz. Diamandi with a vital touch, comes out to Partey at the edge of the area, and his low drive has come to be held in front of goal by Franco Israel. You're listening to Sporting Lisbon 0, Arsenal 1 in the Champions League, live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Darren Bent's alongside me tonight on commentary.
I mean, it would have had to have been one hell of a strike from Thomas Partey to score from there. I mean, we saw him hit one at the weekend against Forest, which was an absolute beauty, and this one was about 10 yards further out than that one was. So, and it was bouncing, it was on the half volley, but I think Arsenal started this first 20 minutes. I think they've been fantastic. Defensively, they've tried to go up and press Sporting Lisbon. They've won the ball back quite high up. They've scored a really good goal. They've tried to test the goalkeeper as well. I think it's been a really good start by them.
Now Gyökeres feels he was fouled by Saliba, nothing doing. And Declan Rice strides forward purposely for Arsenal, plays it out to the right wing for Saka, tucks it back in field for Timber, and further in field for Partey. Little lob ball over the top, getting Saka in behind. Saka through the legs of the keeper, and Havertz finishes it off, and it's 2-0 to Arsenal, and we're not even midway through the first half. What a ball forward from Declan Rice to get Saka in behind. The keeper came out to narrow the angle. Saka just cheekily put it through his legs. It looked to be rolling in, but it was Kai Havertz who tucked it away anyway. But credit to Partey and Saka for setting that up. Brilliant approach play, and Arsenal are deservedly 2 goals up.
I'm just worried about this run from Bukayo Saka. He might be a yard offside. That's the only thing, maybe, is when the ball is released. But the ball from Thomas Partey in behind the Sporting Lisbon back 3 is sensational. We saw Martin Odegaard try to do it and he got it just wrong. Partey gets it completely spot on there, and unselfish play from Bukayo Saka. I think he is going for goal, but again, Kai Havertz in the middle of that 6-yard box, being where exactly all good centre forward should be. He's in there, he taps it in. It's a fantastic goal for Arsenal, and what a start, and it's no more than they deserve.
He scored a goal, Kai Havertz. He's found the net. Goal stands, no problem with offside. But yeah, the ball from Thomas Partey, first time to get Saka inside Araujo down that right hand side, was very, very beautifully judged.
But that's the problem, Dan, sometimes when you play a 3 at the back. When you play a 3, because they're so narrow, the space is down the side. So Saka, it's not really a difficult run. He just runs from right to left in between the fullback and the centre half. And because there's so much space out there, it's can he get the next bit right? And he does that, and it's a fantastic goal for Kai Havertz.
Sporting's long unbeaten run under severe threat here already as we reach the midway point of the first half on Talksport, with Arsenal 2 goals to the good, and having won 6-0 in the Cup at the weekend. Joao Pereira, the new man at the helm, what a reality check this is for him. Listening to Andy Brassel on Hawksby and Baker this afternoon talking about his promotion from the B team. Apparently some of the Portuguese bosses have a problem that he doesn't have all the correct credentials to take this role this soon, so they might have to fast track him through a few exams and a few multiple choice questionnaires or something, Benson, to get the qualities he needs.
But that's the thing, and I think Sporting have been sensational this season. You can't take their record away from them, but I keep going back to it. When you look at the first 20-25 minutes against Manchester City, the scoreline flat as Sporting. Manchester City should have won that game comfortably.
Yep.
But if you don't take your chances, there's always a chance you can get punished the other end, and Manchester City did. Arsenal in these first 23 minutes have taken both of their chances, and it looks like a completely different game.
Arsenal 2 up, 23 minutes gone on Talksport. AFC Wimbledon lead at Tranmere in League 2. Only a couple of games in League 2 tonight, but Matty Stevens has scored again for AFC Wimbledon, this time at Prenton Park. That's 8 goals for the season for Stevens. And I think there's a goal at Carrow Road. We'll head there in just a moment. In fact, we'll head there now as Arsenal have the ball in their own half, 2-0 up. Which way's it gone, Mike Schull?
It's gone to the visitors. It's Norwich 2, Plymouth 1. Mustafa Bundu with the finish. This was after Norwich dominated the opening 20 minutes and could have quite easily been 5 goals to the good. But in the end, Plymouth robbed Norwich of the ball in the midfield area. Cornel Such got it, ran forward, laid it to Andre Gray, and his touch found Bundu, who sent it beyond Angus Gunn. Norwich 2, Plymouth 1.
So Arsenal 2-0 up in Lisbon as a huge firecracker goes off.
Scared me.
Just outside the stadium. Yeah, Darren Bent, genuinely, the big hard man of many a Premier League front line, his head just disappeared into his shoulders. Like a Ninja Turtle. You all right, mate?
Yeah, scared me, that did.
Well, let's see if anything scary's happened at the Etihad in the opening 20 minutes or so, as Manchester City are playing Feyenoord. John Dunn.
Manchester City 0, Feyenoord 0. It's all City in terms of possession. Erling Haaland has hit the post, a downward header that looked like it might nestle into the corner. Jack Grealish with a goal-bound volley that was blocked by his own man in Phil Foden. And a moment ago, it's Foden himself, a sharp turn, a low shot from the edge of the area, tipped around the post by Timon Willemreuter in the Feyenoord goal. It's 26 gone, City 0, Feyenoord 0.
Thank you, John. I mentioned Andy Brassel there earlier, our European oracle. He's on Trans-Euro Express every Sunday night at 9 o'clock with Danny Kelly, bringing you a comprehensive roundup of everything that's happening around Europe. And the best bits of that show are now available as a podcast on the Talksport app, which I'm sure you must have downloaded for your phone by now. And if you haven't, do it quick, smart, and you can get all the best bits from great shows like Trans-Euro Express as part of the podcast tab on the free-to-download Talksport app.
Jose, just watching this first half, do you know what's causing Sporting problems as well? Because of Martinelli and Saka and how dynamic they've been this first 26 minutes, they're almost playing with a back five. So even though it's a three, you've got Quenda having to go right back, and you're having Orejo having to go to left back. So effectively, they've got a flat five, and no one can really go and press the ball because it's just how high Martinelli and Saka are. And I know they've been doing the 3-4-3 for such a long time now, and they've got great success with that. But I just wonder at half-time, especially if Arsenal score again and it makes it 3-0, if they go and change the shape. Because at the minute, it's not doing them any favours.
Well, Pereira has been playing this same system for the B team. It's much as what they do at St George's Park with the age groups. They make sure that age groups understand the system before they're promoted to the main team. Now, Gyökeres getting away down the right-hand side of the area, but he runs out of ground before it trickles over the dead ball line. But he was being matched stride for stride there by Gabriel. Goal kick Arsenal. If you're just tuning in, Arsenal are 2-0 up already in Lisbon, courtesy of goals from two of their front three. Martinelli, his first Champions League goal of the season, and Kai Havertz, his first goal of the season.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, Kai Havertz. I mean, getting his goals this season, holding the ball up, working really hard for the team, playing that false nine. But he does a lot of the dirty stuff that other players don't want to do. He picks up the second balls, he's good in the air, a very intelligent footballer. But this performance from Arsenal in this first 27 minutes it's been outstanding. It really has.
He scored 4 in the Premier League, Havertz, but he's not scored in the Champions League before tonight. Here's Partey on halfway. Oh, do forgive me, he scored against PSG, didn't he, Havertz? I'm doing the lad a disservice. Inter 1, Leipzig 0 in the Champions League. Castello Lukegba with an own goal. And down in League 2, Walsall, who are going great guns under Matt Sadler. For the Sadlers, they lead Bromley by a goal to 0. Liam Gordon. And one game in Scotland tonight, and Aberdeen could be heading for successive league defeats. They trailed to Hibernian by a goal to 0. Joe Newell for the Hibees. And down the left-hand side of Arsenal, 2-0 up, it's Calafiori. He tucks the ball in field to Rice. Now a chance for Odegaard to cross, and desperate defending by St Just. And he tucks it behind, and he goes out of play for a throw. Sporting keep it in play. Neat touch from Gyökeres inside his own half, and he goes for a return pass from Trincao, darting down the right-hand side. Saliba staying with him, tried to cross to the edge of the area for the run by Edwards. The ball was cleared, and then Calafiori barreled into the back of Trincao, wags the finger at the referee, but it's a Sporting free kick as we approach the half hour on Talksport, with Arsenal 2 goals to the good.
Really sloppy there from Jurrien Timber. I mean, the situation is dealt with. He gets across the attacker. Gyökeres puts it into an empty box. And Timber's actually got time, but he tries to play the first-time pass. He misses Gabriel and Saliba, and it goes to Calafiori or Trincao, and then Calafiori has to make the foul. But Jurrien Timber, that could have been avoided.
Atalanta back in front against Young Boys. An own goal by David van Balmoes makes it Young Boys 1, Atalanta 2. So Sporting free kick, right-hand side. Trincao's going to take it. Arsenal defending from their 12-yard line out, level with the penalty spot on the free kick. Straight into the grateful arms of David Raya, who bowls it out over on for Odegaard, and he releases Saka over halfway. He's just got him behind Morita for a moment. Now Morita's back goal side. Saka into the area, right-hand side, goes for goal, and it's saved by Israel, plunging down to his left-hand side. Very nearly 3-0 to Arsenal on the half hour on Talksport.
Yeah, I see what Saka's trying to do then. It's really intelligent, and it almost works. I mean, he backs up Morita all the way into the penalty area, and he just shifts it onto his left foot. And everyone, I mean myself included, thought he was going to try and find that far post, which he does so well, just bending it outside that far post. And he tries to drag it back to the near post and just doesn't get enough on it, and it's a good save by Israel. But again, the pass from Odegaard to allow Saka to run in behind was sensational with the outside of his boot.
And David Raya getting rid of the ball almost as soon as he caught it. Shows how quickly Arsenal are on the case in knowing of who's well placed. Now here come Sporting with Quenda down the right-hand side. He expected Trincao to make a run down the right, but his teammate was caught completely on his heels, and the ball just dribbled behind ever so slowly just to wind up the locals that little bit more for an Arsenal goal kick. Bayer Leverkusen 3, Red Bull Salzburg 0. Florian Wirtz with a third for Leverkusen in the Champions League. And Arsenal firmly in control here. More Champions League football across our network tomorrow night. 2 mouth-watering ties. Liverpool against Real Madrid here on Talksport. Aston Villa against Juventus live on Talksport 2. Both kicking off at 8 o'clock. And our coverage starts here at 7 p.m. with Adrian live at Anfield. Darren Bent alongside me is just gently shaking his head at what's unfolding in front of him with Arsenal 2-0 up here.
If you talk about how much a player means to a squad, Martin Odegaard's performance in his first 30 minutes has been nothing short of sensational. Everything he does is positive and class.
Oh, he's just lobbed it into the area for Havertz, who lobs the keeper. It's saved by the keeper. Got a paw on it, and the offside flag's gone up against Havertz in the end anyway. But that all came from a lob from Martin Odegaard, because he sensed that Havertz was making a well-timed run that he could exploit. Havertz in the end was half a yard offside. And we've reached half-time in the Championship at Bramall Lane. Talksport's Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 2, Oxford United 0. Oxford have now conceded 8 in their last 2 hours of football. Could have been even more, but for keeper Jamie Cumming. Callum O'Hare and Tyrese Campbell with the goals. O'Hare's first for the Blades, and Campbell laid that on, as well as then scoring his 5th in 6 games. Sheffield United 2, Oxford 0.
Sporting 0, Arsenal 2. Off to Vicarage Road in a sec for a half-time report there, but Arsenal have it in the Sporting defensive third. Odegaard lays it back to Partey in the centre of the half, swung out to Yuri and Timber. 2 waiting for a cross inside the box, but it's given back to the mercurial Odegaard. Now back out to Timber on the right hand side, being forced back towards halfway. So let's quickly go to Vicarage Road. Half time there. Talksport, Ian Abrahams.
Watford 0, Bristol City 0. Alice Mehmeti had the ball in there early for Bristol City, ruled out for offside. He's been their best player. Naki Wells had a shot saved by Batman. Watford have been okay, just nothing special. Watford 0, Bristol City 0.
Odegaard for Arsenal, midway point of the Sporting half. Just casually rolls it to his right for Declan Rice. Now Timber picks it up, right hand corner of the box. Lovely quick feet from him to feed it out to Saka on the right wing. They've had so many opportunities to put the ball in the area, but they're just biding their time, Arsenal, almost toying with Sporting, like the proverbial cat with a mouse. Here's Odegaard again. Lovely ball in from the right-hand touchline to find Timber. He rolls it back for Partey. And then a loose touch from Timber allows the ball to go out of play. It is an Arsenal throw. Half-time at Carrow Road in the Championship. Talksport's Mike Shule.
Norwich 2, Plymouth 1. 2 more goals for the Championship's leading scorer. Borka Signs gives Norwich an advantage that, frankly, should have been far greater. For the first 20 minutes, Norwich completely dominated proceedings, but Signs scored after only 2 minutes when, controversially, an initial touch by Sienats found him in the area via a touch by Palsson. The goal stood, and then Signs added to it in the 17th minute after being put through by Marcondes. Norwich should have scored on 3 or 4 other occasions before Mustafa Bundu pulled a goal back 6 minutes before the break. Norwich 2, Plymouth 1.
Odegaard, right-hand side for Arsenal. They lead 2-0 in Lisbon on Talksport with 10 to the break. Rice trying to turn it into the area. They're just piling on the pressure on Sporting, who are gone back into their shell, Darren Bent, defensively speaking.
Do you know what? It looks to me that's a team that's not used to being behind and used to losing, because the way that they're trying to press the ball, they're not really pressing. They're allowing Arsenal to do what they want, and Arsenal have got to sense and smell that, because there are opportunities there for Arsenal. They've worked it so well, more so on this right hand side with that connection between Odegaard, Timber and Saka. Arsenal need to sense that they're there for the beating. If Arsenal can get a third before half time, that's this tie over, because Sporting at the minute look like they're not quite sure how to attack. They want to put the ball in behind, but Arsenal are allowing them to do that. They want to try and press, but they're getting their 1s and 2s, and at the minute it's so comfortable in possession for Arsenal, it's actually quite scary.
This game brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. Let's get a half-time in the Championship at Turf Moor. Talksport, Steve Hothersall.
Yeah, I think we expected this half-time. 0-0, Burnley and Coventry. Burnley dominate possession play, slick passes, but no attacking edge at all. Jay Rodriguez celebrating 300 appearances for the Clarets, but he's doing it in isolated fashion as the focal point of a blunt attack. Coventry have soaked it up. There's nothing to report. Half-time, Burnley 0, Coventry 0.
Havertz tries to get up with a header inside the area as Arsenal come forward again. Saka lays it back to Odegaard at the edge of the area, tried to thread the ball through for Havertz, and Inacio just got a toe in on the ball to keep it away from the German, but Saka has it again. 10 to half-time. Saka trying to go on the outside of Araujo, right on the dead ball line, but just can't get round the wing-back. And Sporting clear their lines, and it will drift out of play. Elsewhere in the Championship, you've heard from our reporters at our featured games. Half-time of the MKM, Sheffield Wednesday lead at Hull. Josh Windass with a penalty, pressure on Tim Walter increases, although the Hull owner has said tonight that his position is unaffected regardless of tonight's results. Stoke 0, Preston 0 is a half-time. And live on Talksport right now, they're still in the first half with about 8 to play at the Stadium of Light, and it is still Sunderland 0, West Brom 0. Games with goals in League One: Barnsley 1, Reading 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Blackpool 1. These are all half-times. Exeter 0, Birmingham 1, Leyton Orient 0, Huddersfield 1, and Wigan 2, Northampton 0. And in League 2, Wimbledon 1-0 up at Tranmere, Walsall 1-0 up at home to Bromley. Here's Bukayo Saka for Arsenal, inside the area, right-hand side, working the ball onto his left. He drives it straight into the chest of Kai Havertz, who then let it run for Declan Rice, who shanked an attempted shot at goal well wide into the Sporting fans behind that goal away to the right. We've played 33 minutes on Talksport, and Arsenal are 2-0 up and completely in control, Darren Bent.
Completely, but again, Declan Rice doing the same thing. I mean, Odegaard, again, he's at the heart of it. He gets the ball under control and wraps the ball out to Bukayo Saka. And Declan Rice almost runs into that space that Saka wants to penetrate with the ball. But Arsenal have been so good this first half. They've been so dominant. If they can go and get a third, I'm telling you now, I think the time could be over. The game could be over. But Martin Odegaard, this first 37 minutes has been absolutely sensational. Everything he's done has been quality. He's kept possession of the ball. He's fed 1 or 2 passes in between the fullback and the centre half. And I think out of possession, Sporting Lisbon don't quite know how to get the ball back.
Like Perry Groves once said to me, the only problem he's got, Martin Odegaard, is if the wind gets up, he'll blow his cigar out.
It's a good line, I might nick that.
Ball's on halfway with Morita, playing it back in field for Inacio. That's a good ball up to halfway, and Marcus Edwards can turn and run at the Arsenal back line. Gets up to the edge of the area, can't get round Saliba, who just stands tall, puts himself between ball and man, and gets the ball clear. And then Saka wins a free kick after getting challenged from behind by Araujo. Sporting 0, Arsenal 2. It remains on Talksport.
And that's a prime example, Dan. I mean, he does really well there. Really well, Marcus Edwards. He picks up the ball in a really intelligent spot, probably just inside the Arsenal half, and he drives. But because Arsenal's so narrow, all he does, he drives into Gabriel, Saliba. He's got Timber coming in off the line. He's got Calafiori. There's no space there. He keeps trying to go, and then in the end, Saliba just uses his bodies and shepherded him out. But that's been an example of what Arsenal have done really well this first half. They have not allowed Sporting Lisbon to get into that middle central area and start threading balls in behind for Gyökeres. I don't think Gyökeres has had a kick this first half.
Barely. He looked lively in the first couple of minutes, but he's been stars of service since then. Marcus Edwards in tonight for Pedro Gonçalves, who scored that goal from the halfway line at the Emirates in that Europa League
Please don't remind
tie.
Me.
Israel clears his lines in the nick of time as Havertz was bearing down on him. And Quenda will pick the ball up and slide it down the right-hand side, and Gyökeres is onside as he picks it up, pulls it back to the edge of the area, can't find Trinchard because Saliba, elegant, just strode forward and picked it off, and now Arsenal can try and counter. Havertz finds Saka just over the halfway line. He's got Araujo backpedaling, gets to the midway point of the half and then slows things down. Saka gives it back to his captain, Odegaard with a little flick to bring Havertz into the game. Now Partey and Rice in the centre of the Sporting half. They're working it out from right to left now, Arsenal. Over on the far side of the field with Calafiori. And he just lays it off to Gabriel. Very neat 1 and 2 touch football from Arsenal as they work it from side to side.
But when they play this neat football, they're playing it from a rock-solid base. If you look at what they're leaving at the back, they've got Saliba, Gabriel, one of the full-backs are there just waiting, and Gyökeres is effectively 1 against 3. And that's probably why he's not had a kick, but I've been so impressed with Arsenal this first half. They've been so comfortable, they've been bright, they've been inventive, they've had efforts at goal. They probably should have had maybe 1 or 2 more.
Havertz now on the right wing for Arsenal, gives it back to Odegaard, right-hand corner of the penalty area. Just drifts in field for a moment, being watched by Morita. Thomas Partey drops his shoulder to get away from the Japanese international. 5 minutes to half-time on Talksport. Arsenal 2-0 up. Misplaced pass from Martin Odegaard. Yes, you heard me right. He was trying to find Saka, but only found a green, black and white Sporting shirt, but Quenda couldn't keep it in play on the far side of the field, so no impetus to that Sporting attack. Food for thought for their brand new manager, staring down the barrel of the first defeat in 34 matches for the Portuguese champions.
Yeah, it's not been a good first half for Sporting at all. They haven't really caused Arsenal any problems whatsoever. As you said, the first couple of minutes they looked quite lively, but it's like almost like Arsenal, since they've got to grips with this formation that they're playing, this 3-4-3, Sporting just haven't known how to deal with Arsenal out of possession. They've not even, I think, because they've been run quite ragged this first half with Arsenal, with Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, Havertz, all causing them problems. By the time they actually effectively win the ball back, they're all out of shape. So they're all miles away from Victor Gyökeres. The midfield's all spread, and they can't really string any passes together without Arsenal winning the ball back.
We'll check it at the Etihad Stadium in a minute, see whether Manchester City are any closer to breaking the deadlock against Feyenoord. But here's Edwards for Sporting, inside the centre circle, feeds it out to the left-hand side for Araujo, who's got Timber isolated. Deep cross to the far post. Calafiori flicks it away under pressure from Quenda. Trincao is beaten to the ball by Martinelli, but then shows good tenacious work to win it back for the hosts. Worked in field for Hjulman, the captain, in central midfield. Short ball for Quenda. Now Morita, he'll work it back to his captain. Now a swift pass forward, looking for Gyökeres at the edge of the area, but Arsenal just pick it off. They don't break that quickly this time, Arsenal. They'll just take their time getting it away from their own defensive third. There is a penalty at the Etihad Stadium, straight to John Dunn.
2 minutes before half-time, Erling Haaland has the ball in his hands. He was fouled by Quinton Timber, the twin brother of Julen at Arsenal. Haaland places the ball on the spot carefully, moves it just slightly forward. This could be his 45th Champions League goal. He'd be the youngest player to reach that mark. Finally, the referee blows his whistle. Haaland stand motionless, then strikes, then scores, bottom right corner. Keeper went the other way just before half-time. Manchester City 1, Feyenoord 0.
Goals as they go in. Here comes Sporting with Quenda trying to try that's tipped over by David Raya. First time that the Arsenal keeper's been called into action tonight. Fierce strike from the edge of the area by Giovanni Quenda, but well dealt with by David Raya. Corner Sporting.
Yeah, really good save there from David Raya. I wasn't sure if it was going over anyway, but you've got to make the save because that's the first time he's been tested. The first shot on target, it was a great save from David Raya, but Giovanni Quenda, he worked it really well into that right foot and good strike.
But Arsenal still 2-0 up, 90 seconds to go in this first half. Corner for Sporting, right into the crossbar, but a very comfortable claim for Raya. You're listening to Sporting 0, Arsenal 2 in the Champions League, live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Bayern Munich lead Paris Saint-Germain in that battle of two teams who are way further down the table than you would ordinarily expect. At the start of the day, they were 17th and 25th respectively, and Kim Min-jae up from the back to put Bayern Munich ahead at the Allianz Arena. And Atalanta 4-1 up at Young Boys now. Matteo Retegui on the score sheet again for the Italians. It's going to be 5 defeats in a row for Young Boys. Saka for Arsenal. Oh, he dumps Araujo on the seat of his pants, crosses to the far post, knocked down by Havertz, looking for Martinelli, and a desperate clearance behind by Diamandi gives Arsenal the corner in the last minute of the first half.
That's why you don't run into Bukayo Saka's space, because Araujo has no idea what to do against Saka. Saka just pretends like he's going to smash it in with his right, chucks back into his left, and he hangs a delightful ball up to Kai Havertz, who does everything right, just nods it back into that 6-yard box, and in the end it's good defending from Diamandi.
So a corner as we enter added time at the end of this first half. Not sure how long Mr. Marciniak's going to add on, the Polish referee, but the whistles go up around the stadium as Arsenal again are taking their time to get this ball back into play from the corner. Rice to take it, right-footed in swinger. Arsenal players again make a run across the face of goal. In it comes from Rice, and it's headed in by Gabriel. A free header at the back stick, and Arsenal are totally dominating the Portuguese champions, and Gabriel makes it 3-0 right on half-time.
I mean, I absolutely love the goal, but I like the fact that Gabriel there is mimicking Gyökeres' celebration with the mask. But again, we've seen Arsenal from corners are so dangerous, but it's an absolute mismatch. You've got Araujo marking Gabriel. Gabriel's probably the best scoring defender around Europe. It's a complete mismatch. He wants it really more. It's fantastic delivery from Declan Rice with that in-swinger. Gabriel gets right into that back post in the 6-yard box. He jumps higher than anybody else and just powers it down to the ground. It is a fantastic goal, but from a Sporting Lisbon's perspective, how can you expect Araujo to mark Gabriel? That should have been Diamandi's job.
And that was the last action of the first half, where Arsenal have got the side from Lisbon licked. They really have. 3-0 they lead. They got going in the 7th minute with Gabriel Martinelli getting the first. Kai Havertz got his goal midway through the first half. Gabriel's header right on the whistle, really showing just how dominant Mikel Arteta's side have been in this first 45 minutes. Disgruntlement all around the Alvalade, apart from the travelling contingent of Arsenal fans who must be thrilled skinny with what they've seen in that first half. At the break, it's Sporting 0, Arsenal 3.
Well, half-time here at the Etihad, right as you come to me as well. Man City lead 1-0. We'll get the lowdown on this very shortly. But Darren Bent, I mean, have Sporting done any work on Arsenal? That was a free header for Gabriel. Everybody knows Arsenal are dangerous from corners. Incredible. What a cruise for Arsenal in that first half. That was easy.
Well, Aid, and this is exactly what I said before the game started. This is exactly what Manchester City could have done to Sporting, and that's why I wasn't getting carried away with that result for Sporting. But Arsenal, from start to finish, have been absolutely superb. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sporting with this 3-4-3 system has almost helped Arsenal to a point, because in transition, Arsenal have got Thomas Partey free, Martin Odegaard 3, Declan Rice 3, and it's just one pass from back to front, and they've got the freedom of the pitch. But Arsenal have taken their chances. They've been dangerous. Saka's been fantastic. Martinelli's been fantastic. But if I'm honest, the ease in which Arsenal are getting into the Sporting half and into the box has been a bit shameful in Sporting's perspective. I thought they'd get after Arsenal. They're on this fantastic run. They're second in the Champions League group. They've looked like a side, Aid, this first half. I kid you not, that should be near the bottom of the Champions League group rather than the top.
Well, I've been watching it as well. They've been absolutely shocking, but as bad as they've been, Arsenal have been brilliant. Let's have a look at that first goal, because Odegaard and Rice were involved on the right-hand side. They were getting a lot of joy over on that side. Timber's low cross, Martinelli poking home. Now, Arsenal fans have told me that Timber on the left and Martinelli on the left haven't really worked, haven't really combined together well. You move Timber over to the right, he assists a Martinelli goal from the left.
Yeah, it was a fantastic, and Martinelli had an opportunity to do that in the first minute, but he pulled out to the penalty spot, and this time it was good to see, because Timber rolls a lovely ball across that 6-yard box, and you're almost saying to your striker and your opposite wide man, get in there please, and they both do that. And to be fair, Kai Havertz is probably fouled. He looks like he gets dragged down, but Martinelli is right in there, and you get your tap-ins in that 6-yard box. But again, the connection, as you said there, Aid, on Arsenal's right-hand side between Saka, Timber and Odegaard has been frightening.
Saka has been excellent, hasn't he? He had played a big part laying on the pass, the low cross from the right for Kai Havertz to score the second for Arsenal. But I think all through that first half, Bukayo Saka has shown what a brilliant footballer he is.
Fantastic, and I think about him as well that makes him even more dangerous, Aid, is that he can go either way. Now, a lot of predominantly left-footed players want to chop back onto their left and just cross it in swingers all the time. He's happy to go down the outside with his right foot and just smash one across. And he's done that so many times now that Araujo, who's playing like the left wing back, he has no idea now, Aid, what way Saka's going to go. And as this game wears on, I mean, I'd like to see Saka get taken off because I think the game's over. But the longer the game goes on and he's still out there, he's going to cause them so many more problems.
And you know what? After the last couple of England games, Noni Madueke played really well on the right-hand side. We did an England debrief, me and Stuart Pearce and Jim Proudfoot, saying, well, if there's an England team tomorrow, do you pick Madueke or Bukayo Saka? Saka's answering any questions that anybody might have had.
Well, sometimes you need competition, Aid, and it looks like to me Saka's heard the noise and he's gone, all right, I'm going to show Jared Bowen again, who was brilliant last night for West Ham. Noni Madueke, who's had a fantastic season with Chelsea and was good for England. I'm still the one in possession of that shirt, and my performances every single week are going to tell you guys that. And he showed that against Forest at the weekend with that splendid goal. And this first half, he's been absolutely superb. He hasn't scored, he's laid one on, but he's been brilliant, Aid.
That first half, it is a cruise. It's 3-0. Gabriel's header from the corner, making it 3 right at the end of the half. Just before that, there was a little moment, and I was thinking that Arsenal got to be a little bit careful. Partey lost it way too easily on the right-hand side, halfway line. It really opened up. He didn't work hard enough to get it back. Really opened up for Sporting. Raya had to tip over, and I was surprised because at 2-0 up, if you lose the ball in that position and it looks like it's opening up for Sporting to have a chance, surely everybody's got to be sprinting hard to try and retrieve that situation. That wasn't happening. Doesn't matter now, they've gone 3-0 up, but it was just a little moment where I thought, Arsenal got to be careful.
Yeah, it was almost like a little wake-up call, Aidan. I know the moment you're in about it was a really good save from David Raya in the end, but you're right, because after that it was almost like, okay, listen, we know we're cruising in this game, but let's just switch on. And after that they got the other end, of course, and get the goal. But you're right, sometimes in moments like this when games are that easy, because it's been so easy for Arsenal, that you need something to happen, and luckily it didn't result in a goal, but just something to say, do you know what, come on, it's not as easy as we think it is, let's just sharpen up a little bit and let's go and put this team to bed.
Benty, we'll be back with you for the second half, but it is comfortable for the Gunners. Sporting 0, Arsenal 3, and they have been that good. We've got a goal early second half at Turf Moor in the Championship. Steve Ottersall.
Very early, just a minute into the second half. Burnley 1, Coventry 0. Cut back from the dead ball line on the right hand side. Jeremy Sarmiento from 8 yards out hits the body of Collins and squeezes through. Burnley 1, Coventry 0.
So 1-0 there. We'll keep you updated on Talksport. Let's round up the first 45 here at the Etihad. John Dunn.
Manchester City 1, Feyenoord 0. A goal a minute before the end of the first half. A penalty from Erling Haaland separating the side. City have bossed possession, but for so long looked as though they wouldn't have the goal that complemented that possession. 9 minutes in, Erling Haaland, a downward header towards the bottom corner, came back off the post. Jack Grealish had a goal-bound volley blocked by his own player in Phil Foden. Foden himself with a sharp turn and shot that was well saved by Timo Willenreuter in the final goal. There were a couple of warning signs from the visitors. Igor Paixão had a snapshot from 25 yards out that was saved by Edison, and then 36 minutes in, Bion Hwang had a stinging shot that would have caused Edison some problems. It bounced off the back of Akanji and went for a corner. Then the penalty came. It was a foul by Quinton Timber on Erling Haaland just before the break. Haaland stepped up, his 45th goal in 44 Champions League appearances, powered into the bottom corner, the goalkeeper going the opposite way. Half time, Manchester City 1, Feyenoord 0.
Erling Haaland Bellis, is that what you're trying to say? I think it's Erling Haaland with the goal from the spot, and City lead 1-0. Elsewhere, the early games in the Champions League: Slovan Bratislava 2, AC Milan 3, Tammy Abraham among the scorers. Sparta Prague 0, Atletico Madrid 6. Couple for Julian Alvarez, those full times. Half times in the Champions League: Barcelona 1, Brest 0, Lewandowski's penalty on 10. Bayer Leverkusen 3, Red Bull Salzburg 0, Florian Wirtz with a couple. Bayern Munich 1, PSG 0 from a corner, Kim heading home. Inter Milan 1, Leipzig 0, an own goal. Manchester City leading 1-0. Arsenal 3 up at Sporting. Young Boys 1, Atalanta 4. Saika Lasinac was clean through one-on-one and scored there. Reteguri's got a couple for Atalanta, the Italian international. Goal at Norwich, Mike Sewell.
It's Norwich 3, Plymouth 1. Shane Duffy with the goal. A header from close range after an Emi Marcondes in-swinging corner. Norwich 3, Plymouth 1.
In the Championship, Burnley 1 up on Coventry, Hull 0. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Josh Windus with a penalty against his dad's old club. Sheffield United 2, Oxford 0, Blades heading top. Stoke 0, Preston 0, Watford 0, Bristol City 0, and Sunderland 0, West Bromwich Albion 0 has just turned half-time live on Talksport 2. League 1, Barnsley 1, Reading 1, Bristol Rovers 0, Blackpool 1, Burton 0, Charlton 0, Cambridge 0, Bolton 0, Cambridge without a man sent off, Exeter 0, Birmingham 1, Orient 0, Huddersfield 1, Wigan 2, Northampton 0, Wrexham goalless with Lincoln, Wickham the leaders goalless with Mansfield. League 2, Wimbledon 1 up at Tranmere, and Walsall lead Bromley by a goal to 0. And in the Scottish Premiership tonight, Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0. Joe Newell, the captain, after 40 minutes into the second half there. This is a Champions League night, though, on Talksport. And Arsenal are cruising 3-0 up away to Sporting. And this game's brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Tom bought an LG OLED TV from Currys. It has self-lit tech that gives perfect contrast, colour accuracy and detail. Ooh. Since, he's binged a new series, rewatched his favourite movies, watched his team play, and now he's typing in his Currys receipt number to claim his guaranteed cash reward between £50 and £100,000 when you buy any LG OLED TV. Everyone's a winner. Currys, beyond expectations. In 2nd of December, 100k prize available. Claim online with receipt after purchase. Terms apply.
At QuickFit, our customers drive away happy every time. Stop.
Do we tickle their feet? No.
Oh, all right.
We just do our job, like having an excellent range of tyres to suit every car on the road.
Oh, that's good to know.
That's why our customers drive away happy. Quick Fit. Drive away happy every time.
1053 medium wave on DAB, online and on your smart speaker. Kick off with Adrian Durham on Talksport.
Well, we've got a championship goal at Vicarage Road. Ian Abrams.
Watford 1, Bristol City 0. Ryan Andrews with the goal. Shot from the right-hand side of the penalty area, right on the edge of the box. It was low, it was hard, it was direct, and it went in via the far post. Watford 1, Bristol City 0.
And in League 2, Wimbledon go 2 up at Tranmere. Omar Bagil, the Lebanese international. And in League 1, Reading have equalised at Barnsley 1-1. Sam Smith with the goal. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds of 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
But live on Talksport, it's Sporting 0, Arsenal 3. Bukayo Saka to score the 4th goal of the game is 8-1. Victor Gyökeres to score the next goal is 6-1. Kai Havertz to score again any time is 7-2. On Talksport 2, it's Sunderland 0, West Brom 0. Sunderland 7-5 to win. West Brom 10-3. The draw is 5-4. That's at half time. That was the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Goal at Bramall Lane in the Championship. Alan Biggs.
It's now Sheffield United 3, Oxford United 0. Absolute formality. Now this result, Jezurun Raksaki with a run finely timed. He looked slightly offside to me as he received a through ball, hammered it home past the prone keeper. Linesman, well, I should say assistant referee these days, unmoved by it, and Sheffield United sailing towards the summit of the Championship. Sheffield United 3, Oxford 0.
Well, Sunderland drawing Sheffield United are there. You're listening to the Champions League live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. Now, tomorrow live on Talksport, Liverpool host Real Madrid in the Champions League, and talk ahead of the match from a Reds perspective is Mo Salah's future. He said after Sunday's win at Southampton that Liverpool hadn't offered him a new contract and he was more out than in. Here's his boss, Arne Slot's reaction.
People tell me about this, but I've said many times we don't share this over here. At least I don't share this over here. The only thing I can say is if I look at my lineups, Mo is more in than out. That quote I can give you.
Interesting. Arne Slot's on Mo Salah. Darren Bent. Is he going to stay? Isn't he going to stay? Was he wrong to do what he did and come out and say that? What do you think?
Yeah, it was very surprising that he went down that route, Mohamed Salah. I'm sure he'd like to stay, but I think it's the years that's the sticking point. I think he probably wants a 4-year and they want to give him a 2, and they've got to find that happy medium. But by the looks of it, I think he might be gone. Like it'd be a shame because he's been one of the best players the Premier League's ever seen. But I think this might be the end of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's not done it in a big week. Real Madrid and Man City.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the criticism, though, isn't it?
That's the thing. Maybe the time is not the best, but I can guarantee you he'll have a big say against Real Madrid and against Manchester City.
This is going to be a cruise of a second half. This could be fun for all Arsenal fans. They lead 3-0 away to Sporting in the Champions League. Second half live on Talksport with Darren Bent and Ian Danter.
Thanks, Adrian. And as things stand, Arsenal are back in the top 8 of the Champions League table, just ahead of Bayer Leverkusen, who are also winning tonight. So they will leapfrog Sporting. Sporting will drop down all the way to 10th spot. Remember, they started the night as high as second. And they get the second half underway. There's no changes at the turnaround. So Arsenal, Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Odegaard, Partey and Rice, Saka, Havertz and Martinelli. Martinelli already pressurising the defender at the back there, Jerry Saint-Just. And for Sporting, Israel the goalkeeper, Saint-Just, Inacio and Diamande the back three, Quenda, Hjulmand, Morita and Araujo in midfield, Trincao, Gyökeres and Edwards in their three-man strike force. A strike force we didn't see a great deal of in that first 45 minutes. And they've given the ball away early in the second period to Arsenal. It's worked out wide by Odegaard, still strolling through this game like it's the most casual training ground affair. Edwards picks it up for Sporting and finds Gyökeres, who tries to outpace Saliba, but again, Saliba's not going to be beaten by having somebody run round him. He's tall, but he's also tenacious, and he wins the ball back. But here comes Morita for Sporting, working it to the right-hand corner of the box, and Giovanni Quenda lays it back to Hjulmand, up to the edge of the D. Morita turns and shoots and draws a good save from Raya, down to his left, behind for a corner kick. Better at the start of the second half from Sporting, but Arsenal 3-0 up.
Yeah, it's a good, comfortable save from David Raya, but again, that's the first time. It didn't happen at all in the first half, but Morita found a yard of space on the edge of the box and managed to get a shot off.
So it'll be Trincao with the corner for Sporting. Into the near post and turned in by Ignacio. What a start to the second half for Sporting. The half-time team talk for the new manager has done the trick. And from Trincao's corner, Ignacio, the centre-half, guided a left-footed volley with his instep. Very, very cleverly indeed. Past Raya at his near post. Maybe this is game on after all. Sporting 1, Arsenal 3.
I mean, it's a great finish from Ignacio. I mean, he just gets across that near post and he opens his body out and it goes back into the near post. But I just think Calafiori, who's marking him, just gets blocked off, I think, by one of his own men. It might have been Martin Odegaard that blocks him slightly, and that was just enough to create a little bit of space, but take nothing away from the finish. It's a fantastic finish with his left foot. Almost a little volley back into the near post. Lovely finish.
Not the finish you'd expect from a centre-half.
No, it wasn't, but I just think that little block off, I don't know if it's Martinelli or Martin Odegaard are just there, that just allows that little bit of separation because it blocks off Calafiori and he can't quite recover. But again, can't take nothing away from the finish. It's a lovely, lovely side foot volley.
3 minutes gone then, and a bit of hope for the supporters around the Alvalade Stadium. And here's Morita, whose shot set up the corner from which that goal was scored. Araujo, left-hand side of the box, faced up by Timber. Gets to the edge of the area, tried to poke it back for Edwards. Arsenal win it back. Saka, lovely turn, and then he's pushed to the floor by Morita and wins a free kick. Goals elsewhere. Aberdeen equalise at Hibs. Jamie McGrath makes it Hibs 1, Aberdeen 1. Rochdale lead at Gateshead in the National League through a Robbie Tinkler own goal. Bolton are 1-0 up on 10-man Cambridge. Aaron Collins with another goal for the Trotters. Cambridge 0, Bolton 1. And Wigan 2, Northampton 1 in League 1. Tom Eaves gets one back for the Cobblers at the DW. You're up to date on Talksport. And just a little bit of food for thought for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal with this much more front foot start that Sporting have made to the second period, Darren Bent.
Yeah, Arsenal started a little bit sloppy in the second half. I mean, even there, David Raya, first half, he's picking up the fullbacks with his little clips, and it was really nice to watch. That one there, he just tries to find Timber and kicks it out of place, and maybe just unnerved them a little bit. So I think Arsenal need to get back to what they were doing, certainly the opening part of that first half, just keeping possession, 1 and 2 touches, don't allow the Sporting Lisbon defenders to get near you, and then when the opportunity presents itself, then that forward pass.
Here is Diamande, one of the 3 centre-halves, gives the ball to the goal scorer, Ignacio, an academy graduate, as so many players who come through to the first team at Sporting are. Back with Diamande, and he swings it out. Oh, it's looked like it was handballed by Martinelli. Referee's not given a free kick. And forward comes Declan Rice down the left-hand side of the area, drives for the byline, looks to get the cross in, but it's gone out for a goal kick. And Sporting will say, well, justice is done, because it looked for all the world that Gabriel Martinelli handled the crossfield pass that was intended for Quenda.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they go back, or Arsenal score from that situation, I think they probably would go back and say, yeah, it's handball, because quite clearly it hits Martinelli right on the forearm. But opportunity there for Declan Rice. Made a good run on the outside, but just couldn't sort his feet out in the time and get a good crossing.
Sporting 1, Arsenal 3 on Talksport. Gyökeres back to goal at the edge of the area. He's brought down. It is a free kick right on the 18-yard line and pretty much dead central, as Gabriel is adjudged to have had a little nibble at Victor Gyökeres trying to win the ball, but instead took the man. Free kick.
Yeah, it probably is a foul. I mean, I know it goes down quite theatrically, but if you can quite clearly see Gabriel, he's dragging practically the shot off the back of Victor Gyökeres as well. So I think in the grand scheme of things, the referee's got that decision completely spot on. It's dangerous in the D on the edge of the box.
Elsewhere, Walsall 1, Bromley 1. Michael Cheek scores again for Bromley. That's his 9th of the season as they equalise at the Poundland by the M6. Meantime, on a mild night in Lisbon, it could be hotting up a bit if this one goes in for Sporting. Arsenal in cruise control at the break, 3-0 up. It's now 3-1. And Martin Odegaard is just doing the draft excluder impression behind the 4 or 5 man Arsenal wall. Gyökeres is the man to take this free kick from inside the D and blast it over the bar. Got right underneath it, nowhere near. Goal at the Etihad in the Champions League. Talksport's John Dunn.
Less than 5 minutes gone of the second half. Manchester City 2, Feyenoord 0. Ilkay Gundogan is the goal scorer. Corner cleared to the edge of the area. Caught it sweetly on the volley, but it did take a deflection just in front of the Feyenoord goalkeeper. Manchester City 2, Feyenoord 0.
I think we can assume that's the end of the barren run for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. Don't forget Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy here at 10 on Talksport, opening up the sports bar to take your calls, and for you Arsenal fans as well to react to what you've seen and heard tonight in the Champions League, and of course all the EFL action as well. 03717 223344 gets you to the boys after we're done here with the sports bar on Talksport. Throw in to Arsenal.
Here we go. Manchester City, 15 wins in a row. There we go.
We've seen it before.
Mini blip over.
It's only Liverpool at the weekend.
They'll probably win that as well.
Throw in from Timber. Remember, Liverpool in action tomorrow night live on Talksport against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Meanwhile, Villa against Juve is our Talksport 2 offering from Villa Park. Ball's turned back to Israel, the Sporting goalkeeper. Short pass for Jerry Saint-Just. He has to give it back to Israel, who's being closed down by Havertz. They're trying to play the ball around in their own defensive third, Sporting, but they don't look too adept at doing so, and they've given it away. Odegaard tries to thread it through the area for a run of Saka. Again, so nearly right, but just slightly overhit that pass. And Sporting will now try and gallop clear down the near side there, right with Giovanni Quenda. Tries to nutmeg Martinelli, who caught him, and that's a free kick to Sporting. Wrexham have taken the lead against Lincoln. An own goal from Tendai Darikwa puts Wrexham ahead at the racecourse, and Reading have come from behind to lead at Barnsley elsewhere in League One. Sam Smith gets his, and Reading second of the night. Barnsley 1, Reading 2. Darren Bent's alongside me this evening for what is currently, with 53 gone, Sporting 1, Arsenal 3.
Yeah, Arsenal still haven't got going in the second half. I think Sporting came out the blocks really quick, got that goal, and Arsenal still haven't recovered yet. Yeah, they've not really caused them too many more problems, Sporting, since getting that goal, but also haven't really stepped onto them. First half they pressed them, they won the ball back high up, they were comfortable in possession. All of a sudden now they're starting to make little mini mistakes here, and it's not cost them yet, but I expect Arsenal, as the game settles down and Sporting try to take one or two more risks pushing men forward, you'd expect Arsenal to capitalise on the gaps that they leave.
Yeah, not only have we got all that Champions League action for you, but straight after Villa Juventus tomorrow night on Talksport 2, ball-by-ball exclusive commentary of the first test in Christchurch, New Zealand, who just beat India 3-0 in a test series in India, taking on Ben Stokes and co. Jacob Bethel batting at 3, Stokes at 7. Intriguing to see how England get on, especially if they're made to bat first in Christchurch. So from 10 p.m. tomorrow night on Talksport 2, our exclusive cricket coverage of England's tour of New Zealand gets underway. Another goal at the Etihad. John Dunn.
Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 0. Erling Haaland, second of the night. He's 17th of the season. It came from Gundogan on the halfway line, sliding it down the right side for Mateus Nunes. Carried it 18 yards out, slid the ball across. Sliding in was Erling Haaland, 6 yards out. 53 gone. Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 0.
All too easy, it seems.
What crisis?
Crisis, what crisis? 10 minutes gone in the second half in Lisbon. Sporting 1, Arsenal 3. If you're just tuning in to Champions League Live on Talksport, Ian Danter and Darren Bent with you. Here's Quenda, the right wing back for Sporting. Just inside the Arsenal half of the field. Forced back to the halfway line, and Saint-Just, he'll lay it off to Inacio, whose early goal in the second half has given Sporting fans a bit of hope. Gyökeres lays it off neatly to Marcus Edwards. Edwards out to the left-hand side, and Araujo level with the edge of the area. Edwards goes again down the left-hand side of the box, drives it into the near post, and Raya had to beat it behind, low down at his near post for a Sporting corner. 3-1 to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a good run from Marcus Edwards on the overlap, and I think it takes a slight deflection of a Bukayo Saka, and it just is heading into that near post, and David Raya not taking any chances, just tipping it around the post. But Arsenal need to just weather this period at the minute.
Another corner for Sporting. The last one brought their goal. This time it's from the left-hand side for Maximiliano Araujo to take it. It's deep to the far post. Senjus gets the header on target, but it's a looping header. It's very easy for Raya to pluck out of the air, and it stays 3-1 to the Gunners.
I think Arsenal would have expected this, because Sporting couldn't have been that bad as they were in the first half. All 90 minutes. At some point they were going to have their little period, and this seems to be it. They've got their goal straight after half-time from a really well-worked corner. But I think that Arsenal needs to just settle down a little bit. They've still got that 2-goal cushion. I mean, it'd be a travesty if they lost it for more or even drew from here. But I still think the longer the game goes on, the scoreline stays like this, Sporting will take more risks, and that might play into Arsenal's hands.
Here's Rice out to Martinelli, left wing, level with the edge of the Sporting penalty area. Torquay 3, Weston-super-Mare 2. Hello, Charlie Baker. It's going well at Plainmoor in the National League South. And Oldham 3, Boston 0. Young Boys 1, Atalanta 5 now. Charles de Ketelare, the Belgian, gets the 5th for Atalanta in the Champions League against winless Young Boys. Here's Morita, the Japanese midfielder for Sporting. 57 gone, 3-1 Arsenal. Now the ball's with Trincao. Oh, neat interplay at the edge of the area, and Marcus Edwards gets a shot away that's lifted over the crossbar. But good interplay between the Sporting front three, but Edwards couldn't keep the shot down, and Arsenal have a goal kick.
Yeah, really well worked again from Sporting, just trying to get the little intricate plays, the little 1-2s between Gyökeres and Marcus Edwards, and it was really well worked, but on his weaker right foot just couldn't hit the target from the edge of the box. But again, warning signs for Arsenal there, just need to sharpen up just a little bit.
One back again by Sporting, down the left-hand side with Araujo. Gets to the left-hand corner of the box. It's played through to Gyökeres with his back to goal. Gabriel watching him. He's drifting out towards the byline. Still keeps hold of it, Gyökeres, and then eventually can't take the ball with him. Arsenal managed to get it half clear. Havertz lays it off to Timber, and he'll just boot it downfield. Nobody in a red and white shirt, and it'll be retrieved by the keeper. Goal at Carrow Road in the Championship. Mike Schewel.
It's all cut and dry now. Norwich 4, Plymouth 1. A hat-trick for Borja Sainz, his 14th league goal of the season. Brilliantly worked goal by the team itself. Eventually it was spread out to the left. He cut in like he normally does and curled it beautifully into the far corner. Norwich 4, Plymouth 1.
Wayne will want to join Colleen of the Jungle at this rate. Barnsley 2, Reading 2 in League 1. Josh Earl equalises for Barnsley in that topsy-turvy League 1 clash. Hartlepool 1, Fylde 0 in the National League. Elsewhere in the Championship, Burnley 1 up on Coventry. Sheffield Wednesday 1 up at Hull. Sheffield United 3-0 up against Oxford. Stoke Preston still goalless. Watford 1 up on Bristol City. And in the Talksport 2 commentary, they're approaching the hour there as we are here, and it's still Sunderland 0, West Brom 0. Sporting 3-1 down, trying to come forward. Odegaard dispossessed by Morita. Schulman gives it back to Morita. Out to the left-hand side it goes to Araujo, left-hand corner of the box. Back for Morita. They're combining passes, but the cross isn't in the box. There's not much movement in the area. Gyökeres is lurking. So too Trincao. It's worked back to Diamande, just past the centre circle. Now it's slid out to the right wing for Quenda. Checks onto his left foot, ball into the near post is very comfortably cleared away by Gabriel, and he volleys it away and tells his teammates, come on, get downfield, push up. An hour gone. Sporting 1, Arsenal 3.
I think I've seen Odegaard give the ball away in the second half more in the last 3 minutes than he did in the entirety of the first half. I mean, they just look a little bit rattled at the minute, Arsenal. And just for the next 5-10 minutes, just get the ball down, play 1 or 2 touch. You don't really have to fly forward at the minute. You've still got a nice cushion, 3-1, and that's why Arteta's getting so irate on the bench, because he knows Arsenal better than this. He would have known that this period for Sporting Lisbon was going to come, and Arsenal just haven't got going yet.
Well, you were talking at half-time, Darren, about resting players. as Timber takes too long over a throw, and the referee says, well, I'm giving that to Sporting now. You've tested my patience. Waiting to get the ball back into play. And you heard the whistles again around the stadium, waiting desperately for Timber to get the ball back into play.
I think Martin Odegaard was signalling to the referee as well, don't get influenced by the crowd. He was almost pointing to the crowd saying, you've only done that now because they made a load of noise. But
now Gyökeres running to the edge of the area, tries to drive from a tightish angle, got underneath it. I think Raya had it covered had it been a yard or so lower. But a sighter for Victor Gyökeres in this second half. 3-1 Arsenal.
Well, that's the first sight of goal that he's got in his predominantly good position, where they rolled it in between Gabriel and Calafiori, and he run down almost that side of the box, that right-hand side, and he just tries to go across the goalkeeper but gets too much on it. But that's the first time the Arsenal backline have let Victor Gyökeres in behind in that type of instance.
That's the voice of Darren Bent you can hear alongside me, Ian Dante. It is Arsenal coming forward, 3-1 up. Bukayo Saka down the right-hand side, faced up by Inacio. On the overlap is Timber, pulls the ball back to the penalty spot, but Hjulman, the captain of Sporting, is there, pirouettes neatly and gets the ball clear. You're listening to Sporting 1, Arsenal 3 in the Champions League, live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Hjulman loses out to Odegaard, who gets it back from Havertz, driving to the edge of the area, through the legs of a defender, still going and then goes down. Penalty! Diamandi, the man with the challenge, who might get a yellow card if he's not careful, once more for too much protesting. But after a wonderful, mazy run from Martin Odegaard, he was clipped inside the area. He stayed down for a moment. Hopefully he's not badly injured, but he's won a penalty for Arsenal as Diamandi went in from behind. That's a nasty challenge. Penalty Arsenal.
Do you know what? It looks really naughty, and if they go back and look at it, I mean, it's clumsy from Diamandi. I don't think it's malicious, but it's definitely a penalty. I mean, the first challenge from Inacio, he gets it, but it's so clumsy from Diamandi. It's 100% a penalty, but Odegaard does so well to kind of get into that space, wriggle his body, manipulate the ball, and just as he's about to pull the trigger, it's a clumsy challenge from behind. It's 100% a penalty.
Well, he is back on his feet, I'm happy to report, Martin Odegaard, and I'm sure any time Odegaard goes down, tens of thousands of Arsenal fans' hearts skip a beat, hoping that it's nothing too serious.
Well, I wonder if Arsenal go to score this and it becomes 4-1, does the manager think about it? You know what, he's not played much football recently, he's just come back, do we take him off? Ethan Nwaneri, probably chomping at the bit, he's been fantastic with the opportunities that he's got.
Well, Bukayo Saka has been handed the ball by Kai Havertz, so he will take the spot kick to try and restore a 3-goal cushion for Arsenal as we approach the midway point of this second half. Just a 2 or 3 pace run up for Saka against Israel in the Sporting goal. Referee checking for encroachment, blows the whistle. Saka steps up and finds the bottom corner to the goalkeeper's left. Lovely penalty from Saka, even though the keeper guessed right, he couldn't get near it. All smiles with the Arsenal outfield players and the substitutes as they all surround and congratulate Bukayo Saka, his second Champions League goal of the campaign, and it's Sporting 1, Arsenal 4.
Yeah, really composed there, Bukayo Saka. Even the little stutter run up to the ball, he was never going to miss that. He just looked so confident, just took 1 or 2 more steps backwards, run forward, keeper goes the right way, but even then, I mean, it literally is side netting. It's probably about 1 inch from the post, on that side netting to the keeper's left-hand side, whipped it across his body into that bottom corner. Fantastic penalty, 4-1 Arsenal. That might settle them down now.
Maybe that's the signal, as Darren Bent has just said, for changes to be made from the Arsenal bench to keep some of the big names rested. West Ham next up at the weekend, and then Manchester United will come to the Emirates. Elsewhere tonight, Bayer Leverkusen got a 4th against Red Bull Salzburg. Patrick Schick with that 4th goal. Maidstone 2, Eastbourne 1, and Bromley have gone in front at Walsall through Danny Imre. Walsall 1, Bromley 2, and another goal at Carrow Road. Back to Mike Schul.
It's Norwich City 5, Plymouth Argyle 1. It's a miserable night for Wayne Rooney. A goal scored by Anis Ben Slimani, his first goal for Norwich. Brilliantly executed on the run from the edge of the area after it was squared by Jack Stacey. In the case of Wayne Rooney, I'm a manager, get me out of here. Norwich 5, Plymouth 1.
That's a long way home for the travelling Plymouth contingent on a Tuesday night, all the way from East Anglia back to Devon.
I've done that. When I was at Ipswich, we played Plymouth, and that was a long old coach journey. Ipswich to Plymouth. Whew, that is far. At least we won, though.
What, the card game? Oh, the match. Right. Midway through the second half. Sporting 1, Arsenal 4 on Talksport. Barcelona have just got a second against Brest. Dani Olmo makes it 2-0 to Barca. Sporting about to make a double change. Meantime, Gyökeres on the turn. Tries to beat David Raya, who held the ball in front of the goal line. Gyökeres just on the turn at the edge of the area. Shot was deflected up in the air. Made it difficult for Raya backpedaling, but he caught it all the same.
Yeah, it was good play there from Victor Gyökeres as well. The ball went into his body really well. A nice little ball from Hjulmand, and he kind of tries to roll it, but Gabriel does really well. He doesn't engage with him, and the moment he turns, he then steps onto him and gets the block in. And he's been very quiet. I mean, that's been a positive for Arsenal, how well the two centre-backs have dealt with Victor Gyökeres this evening.
Double change for Sporting, and Daniel Braganca come on to replace Marcus Edwards. So the young man from Tottenham has not been able to affect anything. So Araujo, the other player, has gone off, and the other player coming on is Jerry Catamo, who was a youth player for 4 or 5 years at Sporting. Made his breakthrough last season, the Mozambique international. Aberdeen lead 2-1 at Hibs, Nicky Devlin. And another goal for the goal pig at Carrow Road, Mike Schul.
Another goal for Norwich. They lead 6-1 now. Ante Sirnats with a really well taken goal after he robbed the Plymouth defence. He ran on and fired it between goalkeeper and post. Could it get any worse for Wayne Rooney and Plymouth? We still have 8 minutes of normal time. Norwich 6, Plymouth 1.
More Talksport, Steve Huddersall.
Burnley 2, Coventry 0. A goal from the ridiculous angle from the number 6, Egan Riley. He was on the dead ball line on the left-hand side. It looked like a cross over the goal. It's actually beaten Bradley Collins and floated in at the far corner. Burnley 2, Coventry 0.
You're up to date on Talksport. The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy will follow this commentary for you to react to all of tonight's action in the Champions League and the EFL. 03717223344. Now they look like Diamandi and Martinelli have clashed in the penalty area, and a bit of a flailing arm from Ousmane Diamandi, who's been in trouble with the referee since about the 30-second mark in this game, Darren Bent.
He keeps running that risk. I mean, I don't think it's a blatant elbow, but he's throwing his arms around, and we saw him nearly foul Kai Havertz when they did get the goal. He must be on the cusp of another booking and getting himself sent off.
Meanwhile, Arsenal are making a double change, and Martinelli, who got the ball rolling, is making way for Leandro Trossard. And Declan Rice is also being substituted. Mikel Merino is going to come on for him in the Arsenal midfield. So like-for-like switches in both instances there from Mikel Arteta. Hull 0, Sheffield Wednesday 2. Michael Smith with the second for Wednesday. That will just pile the pressure on Tim Walter, the Hull City manager, and ease the pressure just a little bit on Danny Rourke, the Owls boss. Their next game is live on Talksport 2 on Sunday at Derby County. So a throw for Sporting with 20 minutes to go in the Estadio Jose Alvalade. 4-1 to Arsenal. A comfortable enough evening, although that goal right at the start of the second half did cause a little bit of concern, but Arsenal soon restored their 3-goal cushion here and look good to end this long unbeaten run that Sporting have maintained for 33 matches in all competitions.
Yeah, Arsenal, I think, other than the first 20 minutes, I thought Arsenal handled the occasion so well, played really well, took the goals when they needed to. The front, well, Martinelli, Saka and Havertz have all got their goals as well, so that's a positive as well, because one of the questions was, have they got enough goals in the side? Well, this will do a massive confidence, your front three getting their goals.
Here's Katamo releasing Gyökeres down the left-hand side, but again, Saliba just showing why he's one of the best centre-halves in the game at the moment. Just so comfortably put himself between man and ball and steered it back to his keeper David Raya.
Well, both of them, Gabriel and Saliba, both almost took it upon themselves. Every single time they've been up against Victor Gyökeres, I'm going to show you, I know your record, you're one of the most lethal strikers in Europe. I think he's top goal scorer in the Champions League, or joint top goal scorer in the Champions League. We're still not going to let you do what you did to Manchester City, and they back it into him, they're grabbing him every time he tries to make it a running behind, they'll give him a little bump, and I think both of those guys have been absolutely outstanding today.
That's the voice of Darren Bent you can hear alongside me, Ian Dancer. This game is brought to you in partnership with TNT Sports, the home of European football. And more live action with us on the Talksport network tomorrow night for the Champions League. Liverpool, Real Madrid on Talksport here. Villa against Juventus on Talksport 2. Bit of a revenge mission for your old club Aston Villa after Juve knocked them out of the European Cup in 1983. Well, long memories, football fans. Here comes Trincao for Sporting. Out to Quenda on the right-hand side. 3 to pull it back to in the area. Just rolls his foot on the ball as he gets inside the area. Lays it back to Trincao. Now Hjulmand looks to place it in the corner. Good save again, David Raya. Low down to his left. Hjulmand picked his spot and tried for the bottom right-hand corner, but David Raya was equal to it. Corner to Sporting.
Still another fantastic save from David Raya there. I mean, it's a save you'd expect him to make, Hjulmand, but he's stretched out there and he's got his left hand down to it into that bottom left-hand corner, but they've almost resorted, Sporting, to shooting from that type of range because they're trying to get the crosses in, but there's just no space in there.
So a corner for Trincao to hit in, punched away, not too expertly by David Raya, but it comes to Katamo at the edge of the area and he gets right underneath it. It sails over the crossbar. Got European action from the Europa League and the Conference League on Thursday. Heidenheim Chelsea at 5:45 on Talksport 2, followed by Spurs against Roma at 8, and at the same time on Talksport at 8 p.m, Manchester United against Bodo Glimt. For Ruben Amorim's first taste of European nights at Old Trafford. Here's Thomas Partey for Arsenal with 17 minutes to go. Arsenal 4-1 up and looking for more. Saka, can he get to the byline? No, he just runs out of room. Surely Mikel Arteta needs to think about giving Saka a few minutes of respite. The game's won, Darren Bent.
You'd like to think so. I think him, Odegaard, maybe even and Havertz. I think 4-1 scoreline with 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more of injury time to play.
Is this a habit that we see from Mikel Arteta generally, though, that he doesn't make those changes of personnel when the game is won often enough?
A little bit, but it's only certain players, because the likes of Saka and...
Here's Trincao going for goal, and the deflection takes it over the bar. I think it caught Trossard on its way through. Again, Raya may have had it covered, but it ends up being a corner kick. It actually came off Gabriel, and Sporting have a corner. 4-1 down here against Arsenal.
It's good defending there from Gabriel, getting his body on the line, and it just takes a little nick off the inside of his thigh and then goes over the bar. But I think Arsenal, from that type of range, they've not allowed Sporting Lisbon to get in between them. There's not been too many gaps in there. They've allowed them, made them shoot at reach. I know they've got a good goal from a corner, but Arsenal generally have dealt with their set plays really, really well.
So a corner for Sporting, left-hand side, hit really, really deep to the far post, and Braganca trying to pick it up at the edge of the area, and Arsenal should be able to get it clear and do. Exeter 0, Birmingham 2. Jay Stansfield back on the ground where he had a loan spell. Son of Adam Stansfield, who has a stand named after him. The late great Adam Stansfield has a stand named after him at St James Park, and his son Jay has scored a penalty to seal the points for Birmingham down in Devon. Exeter 0, Birmingham 2.
Dance, I can hear that. I can hear the delight in your voice. Like, even if you try to keep a straight face, remember I'm looking right at you. So just remember that.
How very dare you, Darren Bent? How very dare you? But Quite a moment for Jay Stansfield.
Superb.
Let's not forget that. Victor Gyökeres for Sporting, meantime, with 15 minutes to go in Lisbon. Arsenal 4-1 up and heading into those automatic qualification places for the round of 16. Remember, the top 8 go through as of right to that round of 16. Braganca runs into Calafiori at the edge of the area, just rides a challenge from Hjulmand. Partey guides it out to the right hand side for Bukayo Saka inside his own half, and Odegaard now picks it up. Good work from Yuri and Timber to find him, and Odegaard, he's found his passing range again. Oh, and then it's given away needlessly by Marino in midfield, but they've got it back. Odegaard in the centre circle can measure a pass out to the right hand side, and Kai Havertz just slows the game down for a moment, now cuts in field. Saka on the overlap, Odegaard takes over. Thankfully none the worse for that challenge that was put in on him for the penalty that Saka scored to make it 4-1. Calafiori plays it out to the left wing, and Leandro Trossard near the left hand corner of the penalty area tries to step inside Quenda, but Quenda's done well and won it back. Another goal at the Etihad. Talksport's John Dunn.
15 minutes remaining. Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 1. The visitors have one back. Mix up in the City defence. Josko Vardiol looping a ball back to Edison. It was read by the Feyenoord striker Anis Hadj Moussa, and he was able to go around Edison and from an acute angle finish it into the back of the net. 15 to go. Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 1.
Elsewhere, Bayer Leverkusen 5, Red Bull Salzburg 0. Alex Garcia and Cambridge, despite being down to 10 men, have equalised against Bolton late on at the Abbey. Sully Kaikai making it 1-1. Double change for Arsenal. Zinchenko on for Calafiori, and Ethan Nwaneri, who Darren Bent just mentioned there, chomping at the bit to get on. He's going to give Martin Odegaard a rest for these last 13 minutes or so. Arsenal 4-1 up, remember.
Yeah, I think probably the right thing to do. Martin Odegaard's been superb. Or maybe tired a little bit in the second half, but that first half performance was superb, and that's the reason why Arsenal find themselves 4-1 up. But it's good that he's given some of the fringe players a little bit more game time. I'm excited to see what the future brings for Ethan Nwaneri. I think he's superb. Scored some nice goals this season as well. Looks comfortable at that level. So yes, it's a good moment for him.
Scored at the weekend for the first time in the Premier League to set the seal on that 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest. Ethan Nwaneri, who, remember, made his Arsenal debut when he was 15. The mind boggles that you play your first professional game of football for a Premier League club at the age of 15.
There was quite a lot made of that as well, weren't there? They were almost saying, was it just Arteta being a little bit of a vanity project? Yeah,
what did you think as an Arsenal sort of... Well, you're an Arsenal fan.
I was happy to see. I like to see the academy and the youngsters come through. I mean, 15 is very young, but he's quite clearly shown now that he's got ability and he's a very, very good player. So
here he is, just taking the ball off the toe of the substitute. Beautifully done to stop Katamo getting away down the left-hand side of the box, and he wants to receive it from Timber, but Timber hits it against the Sporting midfielder, and it goes out of play for a throw taken quickly. Havertz tucks it infield. Marino will roll it out to give Zinchenko his first feel of the ball. Lofts it downfield. Great run from Havertz. Takes the ball on his chest. Guides it out to Trossard in the left wing. Havertz wants it back, but it's rolled back instead to Alexander Zinchenko. Zinchenko will make his way into the centre of the Sporting half and then leave it for Saliba. Thomas Partey guides it out to the inside right channel. Nwaneri uses Saka as a decoy, gets into the area right hand side, tries for the byline, pulls the cross back, but it's a comfortable claim for the goalkeeper Israel at his near post. Full time at Bramall Lane for the new league leaders, it seems. Alan Biggs.
Sheffield United 3, Oxford United 0, a game that looked over almost as soon as it started. Callum O'Hare, Tyrese Campbell and Jesurin Rak-Saki struck to leave Oxford buried under 9 goals in 2 games. Could have been plenty more. The Blades on a roll going into Friday's table topper here. It's live on Talksport against Sunderland. 25,000 here tonight. Most enjoyed it. Sheffield United 3, Oxford 0.
Sunderland still 0-0 with West Brom live on Talksport 2 right now. So Sheffield United top on 35. Burnley are 2-0 up at the moment. They'd be on 33 in second. Sunderland at the moment on 33 with that point they're getting against the Baggies. Leeds fourth play tomorrow. Watford, who, as you heard Moose say earlier, took the lead against Bristol City. They're still 1-0 up. They be in fifth place on 29 points. And Middlesbrough in sixth. Wickham have won it late on. The League One leaders have left it till the 93rd minute for the former Bristol Rovers man Luke Leahy to get the winner against Mansfield. Huddersfield have got a second at Leyton Orient to go 2-0 up through Callum Marshall. And here's Bukayo Saka for Arsenal, finding Marino at the edge of the D. Oh, tried to lay it off for Zinchenko, but played it behind the Ukrainian, forced him back towards the halfway line.
I don't know why he didn't shoot Marino. He
just played a 1-2 with the referee there, Marino.
He picked up a lovely position on the edge of the box, on his strong left foot as well. I'm just thinking swivel and hit it, but he almost tried to be too safe and play the ball to Zinchenko, and the pass wasn't really on. But again, Arsenal just dominating possession these last 10 minutes.
What about Wycombe Wanderers and Matt Bloomfield? What an extraordinary run that they are on. Amazing stuff from their Chur boys. An amazing performance from Norwich City that's just come to a close at Carrow Road. We'll be there in a sec because here comes Marino. Shot blocked. Trossard with the header. Tucks it away. That's number 5 for Arsenal. Marino's shot was beaten out by Israel. But right on the spot was Leandro Trossard to nod it home from close range. And that sets the seal on a very, very comfortable night for Mikel Arteta's men in Lisbon. Sporting 1, Arsenal 5.
And that should have happened, Dan, 30 seconds ago. Moreno's in the exact same position he was just now, and he opted to play the ball to Zinchenko. He's got a lovely left foot, and you can see there on the D, on the edge of the box, he cracks his shot. Probably the goalkeeper should do a little bit better, because I don't think it moves anywhere in the air. But then Leandro Trossard doing again what all good forward players should do. He follows in the pieces. He's alert. He's alive. He's the one on his toes. And you get your rewards in that 6-yard box. Just nods it into an empty net. Job done for Arsenal.
5-1 to the Gunners. Mind you, Norwich have gone one better than that at Carrow Road. Mike Sewell.
They've beaten Plymouth by 6-1 and ended their 7-match winless run in emphatic fashion. A hat-trick for the Championship's leading goal scorer, Borka Sainz. Other goals for Shane Duffy, Anis Ben Slimani and Antti Siernats. The consolation was scored by Mustafa Bundu. It's a 7th defeat in 9 away games for Plymouth, have not won away since April. Norwich 6, Plymouth 1.
Goal at the Etihad. Talksport's John Dunn.
We're into the final 10 minutes and Feyenoord have another one. Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 2. It was a ball in from the right-hand side. Coming onto it was Hanko. It's hit the post, or Edison at the near post, and then it's chested in from a few yards out by substitute striker Santiago Jimenez. We've got 9 to go. Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 2.
Hibs have equalised against Aberdeen in stoppage time. It's 2-2. Nicky Cadden wants a Forest Green. Equalises for the Hibees. Did Watford hang on for all 3 points at Vicarage Road? Full time there, Ian Abrahams.
It did. Watford 1, Bristol City 0. The goal scored by Ryan Andrews early in the second half, enough to put the Hornets back into the playoff places. A very tight game, won by a very good goal. Watford 1, Bristol City 0.
Here comes Sporting trying to do something about this 5-1 scoreline, but then the shot from Greg Anker's well wide as he tried to whip the shot left-footed from inside the D and shanked it well wide of the post. Arsenal will have a goal kick. Walsall have equalised right at the end of their game at the Poundland against Bromley 2-2. David Okabue has made it 2-2 for the Saddlers. Full-time at Turf Moor in the Championship. Talksport, Steve Hothersall.
It's Burnley 2, Coventry 0. Scott Parker's side climbing to second in the Championship. 2 second-half goals. The football isn't high-octane, the sort of stuff the fans have been used to, but the Clarets are very resilient at the back. Outplayed Coventry in the first half. First goal came a minute into the second half for Jeremy Sarmiento, and then Egan Riley's chip goal making it 2-0. Probably a cross, but it looked classy. Coventry outplayed, Burnley getting the job done, and they've got the best defensive record in the Championship. Burnley 2, Coventry 0.
Arsenal coming forward at 5-1 up with 5 minutes to go with Bukayo Saka. Marino rolls it back into midfield. Timber back out to Saka in the right wing, cuts infield onto his left, elects not to shoot. Timber takes over and plays it left foot Alexander Zinchenko. Now out to the left-hand side, and Ethan Nwaneri. Good ball, quick ball infield. Trossard lobs it into the edge of the area. Hjulmand only gets it half clear. And here's Trossard again, but Hjulmand with a great sliding tackle to win it back. Ball's up on halfway, and Gyökeres has actually rolled his defender. Saliba for once, now driving at Kivior, who's just come on for Gabriel, and he hits the post with a shot from a tight angle, Victor Gyökeres. And it comes out to the edge of the area, and Trincao gets it all horribly wrong as he tries to whip it goalwards. And for almost the first time tonight, Gyökeres getting a run at one of the Arsenal defenders, beating Kivior for pace, but smacking his shot against the frame of the goal. 5-1 Arsenal. Yeah, it would have been harsh to beat David Raya from there, but I mean, he absolutely smashes it, and that's the difference. When you're up against Gabriel and you're up against Saliba, both very quick, both very strong, read the game incredibly well. Jakub Kivior has just come on, trying to get up to speed, and Gyökeres probably senses that, rolls him a little bit and runs him, and it's unfortunate for Gyökeres, but again, Arsenal managed to ride their luck a little bit, and it hits the post. That's Darren Bent. You can hear alongside me Ian Danter. You're listening to Sporting 1 Arsenal 5 in the Champions League, live on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van. Aberdeen look to have won it at Hibs. Esther Sokler in the 95th minute. Hibs 2, Aberdeen 3 in the one Scottish Premiership game tonight. So Manchester City hanging on a little against Feyenoord, with the Mexican goal machine Santiago Jimenez back amongst the goals for the Dutch side. They've missed him since he's been out for such a long time. And foul by Gyökeres as he tried to win an aerial ball pumped forward from the back, but he caught his man, and a free kick's been awarded. So at the top of the Championship, Sheffield United top 35, Burnley and Sunderland 33. Sunderland still 0-0. Live on Talksport 2 right now with West Brom, with 3 minutes of normal time to go there. They've got to start turning them draws into wins. Is that 5 on the bounce now, draws? It will be. Well, yes, because the QPR, Preston, Coventry and Millwall I thought they got off to a fantastic start in the Championship. Really Stabri doing a great job, but at some point, with all those big boys gathering, Sheffield United, Burnley and those boys, you've got to start turning these draws into wins. Meanwhile, Hull have dropped into the bottom 3, being beaten 2-0 by Sheffield Wednesday this evening. All the reaction to come with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy in the sports bar. Get your calls into the lads as you head back from an EFL fixture this evening. Let Jamie and Jason know how your team played. 03717 223344. Wickham have won, Wrexham have won, and Birmingham have won in League One tonight in their respective fixtures. On a busy night of domestic and European football, and more European football tomorrow night on TalkSport with Liverpool Real Madrid from 7 o'clock on TalkSport, and Villa against Juventus on TalkSport 2. Wow, Hibs 3, Aberdeen 3. Rocky Bashiri makes it 3-3 in the 96th minute up in Scotland. Meanwhile, Sporting 5-1 down, heading for their first defeat in an awfully long time, in 34 games, let's not forget. They are 100% after 11 games in the Portuguese league. But we ask it so often, as we're in the last minute of normal time here, Darren Bent, what those Portuguese league fixtures teach a team like Sporting about these sorts of heavyweight European encounters. And that's the thing. You could look at their record, and they have been outstanding this season. You can't take nothing away from them. But again, that, and I keep going back to it, that Manchester City result 4-1 gave maybe a lot of people false hope by thinking Sporting are one of the best teams on the planet. Manchester City should have won that comfortably. And Arsenal are showing you take your chances against Sporting. There are opportunities there to go and get 1, 2, 3, 4. Arsenal got 5 tonight and have been second half. You know, they've been in second gear. That first half they were fantastic, but this has been a superb performance from Arsenal. They've made Sporting Lisbon look ordinary. Still piling forward as well, Arsenal, in the last minute of normal time. Inside the area, driven goal was good save by the keeper Israel. Quenda gets it half clear. Might drop for Nwaneri, right hand side of the box. It's back to goal. Saka's out there with him, rolls it back to Thomas Partey. We're into 2 minutes of minimum stoppage time at the end of the match in the Jose Alvalade. Zinchenko in the centre of the Sporting half, options right and left, lobs it into the area. Trossard takes it brilliantly in his stride, fires it across goal behind Havertz, comes out to the edge of the area, and Sporting managed to get it clear. Goal at the Etihad, John Dunn.
Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 3. The visitors come from 3 down. David Hanko headed home from close range. Another error. The City offside trap didn't work. Ederson came steaming out of his goal, got nothing on the ball. Cross came in. Hanko scores into injury time. Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 3.
Wow. 03717 2233 444. City fans, get your calls into Jamie and Jason on the sports bar.
Wow.
I get the feeling we'll be hearing from Jackie Knuckles tonight about that performance.
Wow, Pep out.
Oh, steady on. Steady on. Just because Arsenal are 5-1 up. Full of beans, aren't you, Darren?
Honestly, that's surprising. That 3-0, I'm thinking, game over, they're going to go and win the next 15. Wow.
And there's still time to play there. They've not gone into added time. We're into the second minute of added time here on Talksport. Arsenal cruising towards 3 points that will take them back into the top 8 of the Champions League table on match day 5. Foul gives Sporting a free kick down the left-hand side of the box. Simoes has just come on as a substitute for Sporting in midfield. Rolls it back to his captain Hjulmand, who might have a go for goal from distance, and tipped over by Raya. Saw it late and decided discretion, the better part of valour, and just tipped it over the crossbar for a late Sporting corner here on Talksport. 5-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, good save from David Raya there. Great strike from Hjulmand. He's actually played quite well. I mean, he's not been able to do what he would have liked to have done because of Arsenal's tactics and how tight they've been has made it really difficult. But
here comes the corner from Quenda into the near post. Flick goalwards, pushed away by David Raya with a strong wrist. Another corner almost paid dividends for Sporting. Mateus gets a drive in from the edge of the area. Blocks, and Bukayo Saka will bring the ball away for Arsenal. Trossard making a run into the Sporting half. He's being pulled back by the defender. Gets to the edge of the area. Chops inside him. It can't get past another defender. And the referee blows for full time. And Arsenal have done to Sporting what Sporting did to Manchester City earlier on in the Champions League. 5-1 the final score. The Gunners in complete control, really and truly, from the very early stages where Gabriel Martinelli gave them a 7-minute lead. Havertz, Gabriel with a header right on half-time, Saka with a penalty, and Trossard completed the scoring. There was an early goal in the second half to make it 3-1 for Manasio that gave Sporting fans brief hope, but they've suffered defeat for the first time in 34 matches in all competitions, and Arsenal go back into one of those top 8 positions in the Champions League table with 3 games to play. Their destiny should, in theory, be in their own hands for whether they will avoid a playoff before the round of 16. Emphatic win for Mikel Arteta and the Gunners in Lisbon. It's finished. Sporting 1, Arsenal 5.
Well, here at the Etihad, we'll go back to Darren Bent very shortly because this is the story of the night. Manchester City 3-0 up and cruising with 15 minutes left. It was simple for Manchester City. Suddenly, we're in 5 minutes of added time, and it's Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 3. Pep Guardiola spent some of the second half with his head in his hands. He's staring at the ground for a lot of the time as well, hands in pockets, almost resigned to the fact there's nothing he can do to get this team to win a game. John Dunn alongside me. We are deep into added time here. The game is almost up. Manchester City had it won, but yet again they're not going to win a football match.
Yeah, Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 3. We're into 5 minutes added time. We've had 3 of them as Bernardo Silva sends in a cross from the right. Looked as though Manchester City might have got themselves back in front immediately after conceding that third, when Jack Grealish from the edge of the area hit a shot that took a deflection and came back off the bar. City coming forward looking to win it again. They led just before half-time with an Erling Haaland penalty after he had won the penalty. Right after half-time, İlkay Gundogan, a volley from the edge of the area, a slight deflection in front of the goalkeeper that gave City a second. They scored their second in 3 minutes early in that half when Mateus Nunes got down the right. Lovely ball from Gundogan. A ball in that Haaland slid in, his second of the night, his 46th Champions League goal in his 45th appearance. But then 3 goals in the final 15 minutes have seen the Dutch side draw level. Their supporters, about 2,500 of them, have been on their feet throughout. They are singing away in that far corner. Manchester City have the ball on the edge of the area at the moment with Jack Grealish. All of the Feyenoord players, all in black, are behind the ball as City look to try and win this game. Once again, they were home and hosed just after half-time, but they haven't seen it through. There's been some defensive howlers that Pep Guardiola will not be impressed by, that really let Feyenoord back into this game. Their first goal came from a Guardiola back pass that was looped into the penalty area, and it was Anis Hadji Moussa that got onto it to round the goalkeeper to score. 82 minutes, they pulled another one back. Santiago Jimenez, the Mexican international, from close range. It was a cross from the left, came through to Latombo, one of the substitutes, right on the byline, came off the post and Ederson, and it flicked up to Jimenez just a few yards out. And then the third, the equalising goal for Feyenoord, was just a long hit and hope over the top. Payasho, the Brazilian, racing onto it. City's high line was caught out. He took it to the right side. He managed to cross with Ederson in no man's land, and it was David Hanko that got the third goal. We are closing in. We've actually had the 5 minutes. This could be the last chance of the game for Manchester City. De Bruyne's ball from the left is low, and it's easily dealt with inside the penalty area from Hanko, the goal scorer. It's Vardiol. It's a cross on the left. It's hanging up. It was Haaland leaping but couldn't get the contact on it as Feyenoord had possession. They just want to get it anywhere now to celebrate what would be a famous victory. Their first
a draw.
Point. A draw, sorry. It would feel like a victory. Thanks, Adrian.
It certainly feels like a defeat for Manchester City, doesn't it? That's an absolute fact, but we're still playing here.
We are over the 5. We've nearly had 6. There was a Feyenoord player down. There's another one gone down now. Quinton Timber, who's got the captain's armband on, the twin brother of the Arsenal midfielder. He's celebrating tonight, and I think his brother might be as well, as Feyenoord get the draw. Manchester City were 3-0 up early in the second half. They were comfortable. They were in control. It looked as though the drought would end, but Feyenoord scoring 3 goals in the final 15 minutes of the game mean that Etihad Stadium is once more filled with doom and gloom. Full time, Manchester City 3, Feyenoord 3.
I'm not joking. Pep Guardiola looks like an old man. This game is aging him. This run is aging Pep Guardiola. He probably can't believe what he's just witnessed. There's repercussions, there's conversations going on. Haaland and Akanji are having a chat in the middle of the pitch. Nunez and Ederson having a chat in the middle of the pitch. There's faces of disbelief on the City players. And any wonder? 75 gone, they're 3-0 up. This is Manchester City. They don't let that go. And all of a sudden it's 3-3. And the run without a win continues. What a night of drama at the Etihad. And the City fans, not prone to showing emotion. A few boos at the end there, though. They can't believe what they've seen. It was defenders not doing their jobs properly. And Darren Bent, we said before about City's run and the losing streak and what was going wrong. Part of it was defensive fragility, and that's been shown again. You can't be 3-0 up against the team that's 4th in Holland with 15 to play of the 90 and not win the game. If you're Manchester City, they have to win this game.
Yeah, they've got to find a way to get over the line, Aid. I mean, that is criminal. For Manchester City to be 3 up, I'm thinking, right, that's that game over. Manchester City are back, they're going to go on a miserable run, but the fact that they're 3-0 up and they can't see it over the line against a side, as you said, that are 4th in Holland, I mean, there are serious problems there. You've got to start questioning. I know it's not a defeat, but a game that they had wrapped up, for them to let it slip, that tells me there's a mentality issue there that's at the minute that's not been there for so long. And they're going to have to pick themselves up again now because they've got a hard game this weekend. But that performance and that fixture and that result will not do them any favours going into that Liverpool game.
You've just said something amazing there. Manchester City have got a mentality problem. Expand on that. What do you mean by that? As the final players go over and celebrate like they've won the game, those fans are jumping up and down like they've qualified for the final of the Champions League. Man City have sloped off already. But what do you mean by that fragile mentality, a mentality issue that City have got?
Well, usually we're expecting Manchester City to pick themselves up right. What is it, six on the bounce they've been beaten. The first one you go right, it won't happen again. It happens again. Almost now, it's when they go 3-0 up, when they concede, when I talk about a mentality issue, it's almost like they go into survival mode Now, the Manchester City that we all know, when they go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, they'll either put their foot down or they'll just keep possession of the ball. They'll keep it going. They'll see the game out. The fact that now when they concede goals, it just looks like it's a complete crisis.
I've just seen that third goal. What was Edison doing, Adrian,
honestly,
for that third goal?
It's extraordinary.
Unbelievable goalkeeper.
But not just him, the defence as well. The offside trap didn't work. That meant he came out, and that you could question that decision, but there's so much wrong defensively with Manchester City right now, and people don't need me to tell them that. But this is a shocker. This is probably worse than some of the defeats that they've had, to be 3-0 up against a side that they should just sweep aside with the players that Man City have got, albeit with the injury crisis they've got, but they should not be losing their lead like that. Absolutely extraordinary. If you want to have your say on the sports bar, that's coming up. 03717 223344. Going to focus on Arsenal in a moment. Get a man of the match shortly from Darren Bent. Let me tell you that Arsenal are into the top 8 now of the Champions League table. Manchester City are not. They are 15th in the table. Of course, more games tomorrow night, including 2 big commentaries for us at Anfield and at Villa Park. Tell you more about those very shortly. But what a night for the Gunners. A huge win, Darren Bent. Little wobble at the start of the second half, but ultimately, for most of the 90 minutes, Arsenal were totally in control of that game. And not just in control, they played with a bit of a swagger, led by Martin Odegaard.
Yeah, they did. They looked fresh. Odegaard looked fresh. Saka looked fresh. Calafiori and Timber made a big impact on the game as well. And they just looked from start to finish. Certainly that first half, I thought they were outstanding. I thought it was one of their best performances ever, certainly for what I've seen in Europe. You can go back to the 5-1 against Inter Milan. You can go back to the Real Madrid when Thierry scores that great goal. In terms of recent history, this performance in Europe was fantastic against a side who've been pretty much faultless all year. But as you said, from the minute one, Saka was sharp getting at the fullback. Martin Odegaard makes such a big difference, and I thought it was the perfect situation and perfect result. Although they had a little wobble in that second half, I thought the game was over before that. And after they kind of got a foothold in that second half, there was only going to be one winner, and if I'm honest, the only shock there wasn't more goals.
Yeah, indeed. Listen, time now to pick out man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
And on that point, you are absolutely bang on, Darren Bent. It could have been even more. It was that commanding from Arsenal. But who's your man of the match?
I'm going to have to go with Martin Odegaard. There was so many good performances out there. The 2 centre-halves I thought were fantastic. But I just think Martin Odegaard, you can see what he means to this Arsenal side and everything they did well today. Certainly that first half was down to him, so I'm going to have to go for the captain, Martin Odegaard.
Yeah, don't blame you, Darren Bent. Thank you. You back on drive tomorrow?
I am indeed.
Brilliant. Look forward to that. That's from 4 o'clock with Andy Goldstein. But Martin Odegaard, our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.